get triggered, yo.
Geopolitically, we in the field. That's for Israel. Wonder is it real? Rappers acting say they high, say they sipping pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up, had to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in the field. That's for Israel. Wonder is it real? Took the way you saw the world, then distorted it. Now you think you wanna rocket twirl somewhere orbiting. Theories disproportionate, the truth distorted quick with a forceful grip. They force it in a simple that we absorbing quick. Took the people's signature, the mean extorted it. They forging it, if music is informant to informing them. There's a surplus, but they tell us there are shortages. Credit economy mortgages, dollar that's supported with empty fortresses. But what's important is this reporting ships important gifts, of course it is, but extortion is in accordance with an assortment list of foreign tricks we ignoring, which informant this, informant this. It looked like we were snoring tricked. Pedophilia and the government endorsing it. Yeah, eugenics is exactly what abortion is. You just vilify those that's subordinate. Way to matrix engineer, that's unfortunate. Geopolitically, we in the field. That's for Israel. Wonder is it real? Rappers acting say they high, say they simple pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up just to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in the field. That's for Israel. Wonder is it real?
They say we're gonna get triggered. We're gonna super triggered. We're gonna get triggered about rap. What up, everybody? Praying for you, bro. Thanks, man. So you guys know the drill. It's about to go down. If you guys have anything you want me to bring up, I'm gonna occasionally check the other phone while I'm over there. So I'll look in the chat, and you can tell me anything, any topic about the Earth you want me to bring up or whatever. Alright, cool. Here we go.
In the world. Oh, I'm glad everyone gathered so I can tell you guys what's going on in the world. It's so exciting. Alright, so as soon as I tell you this, everyone's going to think I'm crazy, but I don't care. So the Earth is not a vacuum, the Earth is flat. I'm glad you guys, and it's contained, and the sky resets around Polaris for all recorded history, which means it's the center of everything. So everyone thinks I'm crazy because I'm a flat earther. So what I do is I offer anyone here $100 cash. $100 cash. Actually, we'll make it $200. We'll make it $200 cash to anyone here that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth model correctly. So I know that that's not real, but if you can answer 3 questions correctly, you get a $200 cash, and you don't have to pay me to play. You don't have to pay if you don't win. And I do this to make a point. All you guys think I'm crazy for thinking the Earth's flat and not believing it's a magic cartoon spinning ball in a vacuum, but no one here knows anything about it. So it's like telling me that you believe in the Bible, but you've never read Genesis before. Well, that's a cool story, but I did read Genesis. So I'll even tell you what the first question is. It's the easiest question I could think of. Supposedly, how many times does the globe Earth spin or rotate every 24 hours? You can even Google it, whatever. If you come up here and you get that question right, and then 2 more questions right, you win $200 cash. $200 cash. So I've been traveling all around the United States, asking people these questions, and no one ever wins the money. But they sit from a distance and ridicule me, right? And then they whisper to each other about how crazy this is. But no one ever comes up here and wins the money. So how can you know that I'm wrong about this or think I'm crazy for not believing in the globe Earth if you don't even know what you believe in? You guys should have learned these questions whenever you were in like first grade. You want to try? No. 360 is wrong. Thanks for trying though. How many times does the globe Earth supposedly spin every 24 hours? Once is correct. You want to try a second question? All right, might as well. How far away in the globe model, how far away is the sun? Say again? How far away is the sun? No dumb phones, no Google. How many? 93 million's right. We'll let you play like a group. Okay. What's the radius of the Earth? To the surface, that would be the radius. Center to the edge of a circle or a sphere. No cheating, man. Okay, I know, but 250 or 40 miles. No, but y'all got really close. I was actually pulling for you. The radius is 3,959 miles. I take things close to that, like 4,000. I can't give you 250. Boy, I'm impressed. Someone knew the distance of the sun. Yay.
That's the first
Okay.
time.
Yeah, that's like one of the first times someone's even gotten that. So thanks for playing. Sorry, I'm not trying to be like over the top. It's just you can't Google it, you know. Anyway, so no one ever gets all the questions right, and these are basic questions, right? Like that's the size of the Earth. That's the supposed size of the Earth. That's actually how you would test it and see if it is in fact what they said it is. You would measure it and see if it's consistent with the radius. So if anyone else wants to come and play, I will of course change the questions. I can't just give the answers and then ask you what the question is, but they will all be very basic questions. So supposedly, let's talk about the second question. The sun is supposedly 93 million miles away. It's called an astronomical unit. So when you look in the sky, you see that the sun and the moon are the same size, right? Well, according to the globe Earth model, the sun is actually 400 times bigger than the moon, and just coincidentally, exactly 400 times further away also, so they look like they're the same size. Of course, the other option is that they're the same size. So you might ask yourself, how did we figure out how far away the sun was? Well, it's not like we went to the sun. It's not like we measured it. It's actually changed 6 times in the last 100 years. We've consistently had to update the number based on the math not working out in the model. There is no evidence that the sun is 93 million miles away. In fact, we have something called crepuscular rays, where all the rays converge onto the sun, which would show that it is a local light source. They say it just looks like that. The light rays are actually parallel, traveling 93 million miles away. So there is, of course, no evidence for this. They tell you that the Earth is in a heliocentric solar system, so that means that we go around the sun. Of course, the other option is that the sun and the moon move over top of the Earth, and the Earth is geocentric, which it provably is. I've tested it for 5 years. I've been kicked off PayPal, Venmo, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you name it. I don't even cuss, and I tell people that they're special, the Creator loves them, and that the Earth is special in the center of everything, and I'm forcibly censored. So anybody here that thinks I'm crazy, they should at least agree I have the right to say the Earth is flat, right? Actually, in Congress, they admitted that they forcibly censor flat Earth because it's quote-unquote dangerous misinformation. So I guess the government gets to decide what we're allowed to talk about. If you do Google flat Earth, all you'll get is something called the Flat Earth Society. Most of you guys have heard of that. Not one real flat earther is in the Flat Earth Society. Not one. Isn't that interesting that they center the real flat earthers, but they prop up another group that says things that none of us think that make us look stupid, where they say you can fall off the edge of the earth. That's one of the number one questions we get. Can you fall off the edge of the earth? No, of course, no one thinks that you can fall off the edge of the earth. There's something called the Antarctic Treaty. It was signed in the 50s. Every major world superpower has signed it and agreed to it. You cannot travel past the 60th south latitude privately. It's illegal. Okay, it's called the Antarctic Treaty. So someone did circumnavigate or attempt to circumnavigate the earth back in the day. His name is Captain Cook. He went for 68,000 miles, and he went along an ice shelf the entire way. Antarctica is known to have the highest elevation in the world. So there is, in fact, an ice shelf where you're not allowed to privately explore that would contain the water. Okay, so no flat earther thinks you fall off. We can't even go see what's over there. We actually don't make claims we can't verify. That's why we're flat earthers. We don't make claims like we're a spinning cartoon ball in a vacuum, right? We just talk about what we can verify. So what's beyond there, we don't know. It's illegal to even explore it. That means Russia, China, the United States, all these enemies, they put their differences aside and agreed that we're not allowed to go privately explore what would prove if the Earth's a ball. This is because you could circumnavigate it north to south. You come up underneath the ball, over the ice cap, come up on the other side of a sphere and prove it, but it's literally illegal to do that, and no one's ever done it. The only type of circumnavigation that's ever been done is east to west circumnavigation, which is the same on a globe Earth or a flat Earth. Of course, you go east or west relative to the center, which is the north, which you use a compass to travel. So anyway, no, we don't think you fall off the edge. Something else that the Flat Earth Society says is that, well, yeah, they went to the moon, and then they turned around and saw the Earth, but they just saw one side of it, so it could be a circle, not a ball. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. No real flat earther thinks that we went to the moon, because they said they went to the moon in 1969. They just can't go back anymore. This is the official story. Don Pettit, one of the world's most famous astronauts, said, and I quote, "I would go back to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back." This is the official narrative from NASA, who gets $60 million a day. So they destroyed the technology of the biggest accomplishment in mankind history, and they can't rebuild the technology from 69. As I live stream on an iPhone 12 Pro with more processing capability than a warehouse of computers in the 60s, of course, technology progresses. It doesn't regress, and it gets cheaper over time as we manufacture it in mass production. So there is no way that that story adds up. I know most people don't know anything about this, but supposedly we called the president from 238,000 miles away on a landline, and he talked to people on the moon with no delay. I documented 2 SpaceX rocket launches this year, which of course just went up and came back down in the water in a parabolic trajectory, and they had a 1.5 second delay right after it took off the ground. So how is it that in 69 they had better technology of communication from the moon 250,000 miles away? Something else most people don't know is the way that we supposedly got to the moon was we used Nazis. Now I'm sure everyone here is familiar with Nazis. They're not the coolest people ever. Well, there's something called Operation Paperclip. It's declassified. We brought Nazi scientists over here. Instead of, hanging them for war crimes against humanity, we decided to revere them as scientific geniuses. One of the guys we brought over here is Werner von Braun. He wasn't just a scientist, right? He was an SS officer of the Nazi regime. He was put in charge of space exploration, and supposedly he took us to the moon. This is the official story. Operation Paperclip, declassified. We brought a Nazi SS officer over here, and he supposedly took us to the moon. Something else that Werner von Braun did when he wasn't mass murdering people, he also, whenever he died, on his tombstone was Psalms 19:1. Psalms 19:1, of course, in the Bible, it says the firmament shows the handiwork of the Creator. The firmament in Hebrew is rakia, which means a container strong as bronze that is impenetrable. The scriptures say that there is a firmament stretched out over the earth like a tent, and it's impenetrable. So why did the guy that supposedly took us to space put one thing on his tombstone, Psalms 19:1, that says you can't go to space? Well, he let the secret out on his deathbed. In addition to this, whenever he wasn't doing that, he also wrote a science fiction book in the 50s. And the main character's title in this science fiction book, authored in the 50s by the Nazi, was Elon. And guess what Elon does in this book? He helps discover the first civilization on Mars. Does that sound familiar? 2021, we have a guy named Elon Musk supposedly about to take us to Mars. So I guess whenever he wasn't trolling Americans about shooting rockets into mediums that couldn't exist and mass murdering millions of people, he was also a prophet. Does that seem legit to you guys that he prophesized Elon Musk? Many people call me a conspiracy theorist, but what I call you guys, and no one in particular, but people that will hear this info and brush it off, are coincidence theorists. You will have to invoke and claim repetitive coincidences at the end of this to actually believe the Earth's a spinning ball. Okay, so let's talk about space. Everyone talks about space. We've been to space. We got pictures of the Earth from space. You're crazy. This is the first thing I thought when I heard there are actually people in the 21st century that think the Earth is flat. Where have we gone wrong? That's what I thought. How are people this dumb? So anyway, supposedly we went to the moon. We discussed that. They clearly didn't go to the moon. They still can't go back. They said they're going to go back. They push it back year after year after year. They supposedly brought moon rocks back, gifted them to different governments. One of them is Holland. When they tested the moon rocks, they actually were petrified wood. So why would you have to give fake moon rocks if you really went to the moon? Apparently they were up there playing golf and everything else. They went back and forth 6 times, but they can't go back now. Okay, so just let go of the moon landing. It's not real. It's very easy to debunk. You can even look at the footage. They defy physics, fall down, get pulled up on harnesses. It was filmed in a studio. Okay, so that's the one supposed real picture of the Earth from space. Now everyone else, what they normally do is they'll walk up to me, they'll show a picture of the globe on their phone, then they'll laugh. Okay, so if you've ever heard of the blue marble, that's supposedly the world's most famous picture of the Earth from space. It was actually the default wallpaper on the first generation of iPhones. The blue marble. Everyone thinks that's a picture we took of a ball Earth in a vacuum, right? The truth is, that's actually not a real picture, it's a cartoon. And this is what NASA says. On their own website, you can pull your dumb phone out and Google it. Robert Simmons, NASA.gov, blue marble. The first thing that pops up will be an article on NASA's own website. It says we take pictures from high altitude, we then stitch it onto a flat map surface, wrap it around a sphere, bring an artist in to do an artist rendition to match what the observer expects it to look like. Robert Simmons, the artist that did this, direct quote, "Of course it's photoshopped, it has to be." So tell me how we got real pictures in the 60s, but in the 21st century, the best they can give us is cartoons, as we give them $60 million every single day. You give me $60 million a day, and I can make a new fake movie of the moon landing. They can't even do that yet. That's, of course, because we have 4K in our pockets, not black and white TVs. It'd be a little more difficult to fake now, especially when everyone's as skeptical as the first one as they are. 1 in 3 Americans did not believe in the moon landing at the time. They went along with it because we beat Russia. So there's no real pictures of the Earth from space. So many people think that that is not true, but you can look it up yourself. They're all images, CGI, computer-generated images, artist renditions, cartoons. Of course, even if they claimed it was real, I've seen a picture of Superman. So Superman's not real, okay? But it doesn't matter. They don't even claim it's real. They claim that it's cartoons. So there's no real picture of the Earth from space. In 21st century, we can't go back to space. We can't go past low Earth orbit. They say it's too dangerous to go past what's called the Van Allen radiation belts. Apparently, we just breezed through it back and forth 6 times in the 60s, but we can't go back 1 time now. But they talk about landing drones on Mars. So basically, your question here is, are you going to blindly believe what the Earth is based on a governmental agency that worked with Nazis and can't go back and do what they said they did and brought rocks back, but they were actually petrified wood, right? Or are you going to believe what you can test for yourself? This is why it's censored. You can prove if the Earth's a ball or not. You can actually measure the surface of the Earth and see if it's curving. If you walk up to a mound of dirt or a hill, you cannot see through the hill to the other side. It physically obstructs your view. The Earth has to do this if it's a ball. And it has to do this at a certain rate based on the radius value, okay? So that means you should see the curvature of the Earth at 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's based on the radius value of 3959. So a lot of people hate math, I get it, which is really all the globe Earth has is math, conceptual abstractions. But anyway, what's the square root of 1? 1. And what's 1 times 1.225? 1.225. So if we're 1 foot off the surface of the Earth, and it is in fact this magic spinning cartoon ball with a radius of 3,959 miles, like they all told us in textbooks from the age 5 up, then we should in fact see the curvature 1.2 miles away. We have an observation off the coast of Cali, 1 foot off the surface of the Earth, where the horizon is over 10 miles away. That would require the radius of a sphere be 264,000 miles. But they claim that it's just under 4,000 miles. This is literally impossible. We have falsified the radius. This is why they have to forcibly censor it. If you've ever heard of Neil deGrasse Tyson, he was actually supposed to debate an infamous flat earther by the name of Eric Dubay. It was set up on Joe Rogan's podcast, the #1 podcast in the world for over 10 years. And Neil deGrasse Tyson was not allowed to partake in the debate. He was told to back out. Because if one of those guys actually got on stage with one of us, they would get thoroughly embarrassed. This is basic geometry, okay? It's the measurement of shapes. They claim the Earth's a sphere with a certain size. Actually, an oblate spheroid. It has to curve at a certain rate. It doesn't do that. We've also seen the Chicago skyline over Lake Michigan from 60 miles away. Based on the globe Earth map, the entire skyline should have been obstructed by Earth curvature, yet we saw the entire skyline in view. We also have another observation in France where we saw mountains from 200 miles away. Based on the globe Earth map, they should have been blocked by 1 mile of Earth curvature. Do you guys know how long a mile is? Well, imagine a mile of vertical physical obstruction of a curve blocking your view. That's what has to be there, yet we saw the mountains from top to bottom from 200 miles away. We have objectively falsified the radius value. Many people will say, okay, well maybe the radius is wrong. As I did already tell you, based on the observation in California, it'd have to be over 250,000 miles, but it's actually not as simple as maybe it's just a bigger ball. This is because day and night cycle uses the radius value, supposedly gravity uses the radius value, distances on the Earth use the radius value. To ever supposedly go to space, you need the radius value. You need what's called radius of orbit to attain escape velocity. So without an accurate radius, you could have never gone to space. So if the radius is wrong, the entire model is wrong, and we've literally falsified the radius. This is why in Congress they admit that they censored flat Earth, because it's dangerous misinformation. Because, again, it isn't actually a debate. So according to the globe Earth, as you look at Niagara Falls right here, which is one of the great wonders of the, one of the 7 great wonders of the Earth, if the Earth's in fact a ball, this waterfall is tilted backwards, going upside down. So let's all take a look at the waterfall. Does it look like it's going upside down? If you think the waterfall is going upside down, I'm going to encourage you to please stop drinking. And of course, that's the only time you'll feel the Earth spinning either, as if you've been taking tequila shots. You don't feel the Earth moving, you don't feel the Earth spinning unless you're drunk. And in fact, when you're drunk and you lay down, you get the spins, what do you have to do? You have to roll over and put your feet on the ground so you stop spinning. This is because the Earth does not move. Now what they say is, well, yeah, you never feel the Earth moving, but it's just so big and it moves so slow relative to how big it is, you just can't feel it. Well, you know what the other option is? It's just not moving. So something else, this is pretty funny and no one's ever thought of any of this. That's why what every flat earther does is try to go prove the globe, and then check it out, I'm on a microphone 5 years later, getting ridiculed by masses of people. So whenever you see the sun move through the sky, right, eventually it will set. You will watch a sunset. Everyone here has seen a sunset? Well, according to the globe Earth model, that sun is actually sitting still, and you're falling backwards 1,000 miles an hour, and it just looks like that. You know what the other option is? Well, the sun is moving in the sky, and eventually it gets to where you can no longer see it. It reaches the vanishing point called the horizon, and then it comes back around the Earth to where you can see it again, and now you have daytime. One question we get about the sun is, well, if the Earth was flat, wouldn't the sun light up the whole entire Earth? No, there is something called attenuation of light. Light gets absorbed into a medium at a certain rate. So if I hold a flashlight right over the ground right here, can they see it from way over there on the ground? Of course not. It has a certain radius of light. It moves over top of the Earth. It's much smaller and much more local. So we'll get back to a little bit of the technicalities in a second, but I think this is pretty funny. So like I said, you guys will have to be coincidence theorists at the end of this to think the Earth is a ball. So if you've ever heard of Freemasons, there are 33 degrees in Freemasonry, or at least that's what they say to the public. You can go up to the 32nd degree, you have to be voted on the 33rd degree. You have to know a couple major revelations to be voted on the 33rd degree. They do not tell you, they give you access to the library, you have to figure them out. One of them is that you have to know the Earth is a geocentric stationary plane. That's why there is a G in the middle of the symbol, the logo for Freemasonry. It stands for geometria, which is measurement of the Earth, which is why you have a square and a compass. That's how you measure a flat Earth. Something else you have to find out before you're allowed into the 33rd degree, and this is based on their own literature. This is not me speculating. You have to know that you're a Luciferian. So if you've ever heard of Lucifer, then maybe you've heard of the number 666. So let's see how many times these Luciferians, which, side note, they actually worship the sun. Okay, they say the sun's a perfectly imperfect embodiment of enlightenment. This is why they said it's a heliocentric model. This is why the Statue of Liberty in New York City is in fact a helio statue. You can Google it, they're identical. But anyway, I digress. So if you've ever heard the number 666, let's see how many times this globe Earth model coincidentally has 666 in it. So the supposed diameter of the moon is 2160, that's 6 times 6 times 60. The supposed circumference of the globe Earth in nautical miles is 21,600, that's 6 times 6 times 600. Using Pythagorean theorem, the curvature rate of globe Earth is supposedly 0.666 feet per mile squared up to 1,000 miles using the parabolic trajectory. Also, the North and South Arctic circles are at 66.6 degrees. We are supposedly on a 66.6 degree tilt, wobbling, going around the sun 66,600 miles per hour, utilizing gravity discovered by Isaac Newton in 1666. And the number for gravity is 6.66. They rounded up to 6.7. And there's something called the selenian eclipse. This is where the sun and the moon are both in the sky during the lunar eclipse. Of course, the globe Earth says that during a lunar eclipse, the sun is blocked by the earth and it casts a shadow onto the moon. Well, during the selenian eclipse, also known as the impossible eclipse, that's actually a term coined by NASA themselves, we see the sun and the moon up above the earth. So how could the earth be blocking the sun if the sun and the moon are both above it? Well, guess what year they said they first recorded the selenian eclipse? 1666. So if you think that these are all coincidences, I would say you're a coincidence theorist, because you actually can't have repetitive coincidences. But anyway, that's just a little side note. So if anyone's got any questions, they can come up here and ask. And if anybody thinks they can win the $200, all you have to do is get 3 questions correct about the globe Earth model. I do this again to make a point. You guys think I'm crazy for not believing in it, but the average person knows nothing about it. And it's again like saying, I believe in the Bible, I just haven't read Genesis yet. Well, you probably need to study what you think you believe before you ridicule other people for not believing it. Everyone that is a flat earther thought it was the craziest thing they ever heard. They went to prove the globe Earth, and of course they could not do so. So one thing I get a lot is, what about gravity? I'll give you an example of when I get gravity. Can you toss in that bottle? So there's something called fluid statics. Water always finds its level. If you guys can see this bottle here, the fluid's level, and as I tilt it, it's still level, still level. It's always going to be level no matter what angle I tilt the bottle. This is called fluid statics. Fluid statics necessitates water finds its level. Here you go, bro. That's why we put fluid in levels. That's why it's called sea level. Water always finds its level. So how is 70% of a ball Earth ocean water that is flat? How is 70% of the ball flat? Now everyone here has been trained to respond to all these questions with a word, and that word is gravity. Most people come up and say, you don't believe in gravity? And then they drop something. Well, when you drop something and it falls down, it's because it is more dense than the air. Okay? So helium balloons are not gravity proof. They are just less dense than the surrounding air. That's why helium balloons go up. They're not defying gravity. It's just lighter than the surrounding air. If I take a beach ball and I throw it in the air, it will fall down. If I take it to the bottom of this water down here, it will go up because it is less dense than the water, but more dense than the air. This is called density equilibrium, relative density. Okay? There's also something else called electrostatics. Everything's electrostatic. When I scoot my feet on the ground and touch you, you get shocked. When I take a balloon and rub it to the side of my head and stick it to the wall, it sticks there. That's called electrostatics. This is known to be 10 to the 39th power stronger than gravity even claims to be, and it is in everything that is matter. So, of course, if you couldn't get rid of that, how could you ever find gravity that's much weaker? Well, that's a side note. Gravity isn't real. There is no evidence for gravity. There is no scientific experiment that's ever proved gravity. Right? Things go down because they're more dense than the air. The only reason gravity is even claimed to be a thing is because the Earth could not be a ball unless gravity existed. It explains something called omnidirectionality, which simply means all directions. You have to stick on this ball in all directions or you would fall off, which means there's an immense power that has to be pulling you down to the ball. So the only evidence for gravity is like, well, we supposedly know the Earth's a ball, which means gravity has to exist. We cannot isolate it. We do not have a scientific experiment for it. We can't even agree on a theory that works for it, but we know it has to be there. So whenever I start to ask these questions and your response is instinctively gravity, 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 well, you should start to realize that you've just been trained to say this word when you cannot explain the way the globe Earth works. So I would love for someone to explain to me how 70% of a ball has ocean water that is always flat. That's why it's called sea level. Water always finds its level. There's actually $1 million reward, $1 million, to anyone that can replicate water bending around the outside of a sphere while it spins and sticking to it. $1 million. It's been offered for 2 years by a flat earther, and no one's ever won the money. Of course, you know, flat earthers put their money where their mouth is. Of course, I'm out here offering everyone here $200 to answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth. I'm so crazy for not believing in. No one will ever win the money. There was actually another reward offered, $10,000, to demonstrate another claim of the globe Earth. And someone thought they could prove the Earth was a globe. It went to court, and the court actually ruled in favor of flat Earth, saying that there was no evidence of the globe. This is a literal court case. I guess CNN forgot to cover it. So it doesn't have any evidence in court standards. It doesn't have any evidence in scientific standards. So where's the evidence the Earth's a ball? That's the question. So there's also something else called star trails. Okay, so the stars move in perfect concentric circles around the North Pole star every single year. It's called Polaris. They've done this for thousands of years, for all recorded history. Okay, the Egyptians actually built megalithic structures that still line up with the same stars today as they did thousands of years ago. Now the question is, how is it that we have the same exact perfect stars that reset every year? We have 77 constellations because they're constant. If we are in fact spinning and revolving while the sun shoots through space and the galaxy shoots 1.3 million miles per hour, you would have what's called parallax, which is where the stars actually change their movement. But they don't. They've been the same for all recorded history. They all go around the North Pole star, which is directly over the North Pole, the center of the surface of the Earth. It's actually illegal to privately explore that area too. Probably another coincidence. So you have 2 options. Either the stuff in the sky is moving and the stars are resetting every year like they are recorded to be, or in fact they're sitting still and they just look like that because you're spinning 1,000 miles per hour and you just don't feel it. There's, of course, no evidence for this. This is why they claim that the Earth is billions of years old and that the lights are thousands of light years away, so that they can say, well, you wouldn't see the difference. It would take billions of years. They did not go and measure a star from thousands of light years away. They have to be that far away for the Earth to be a ball, because we do not see any change in the stars every single year. So once again, there's 2 options. It's actually these lights in the sky are thousands of light years away. Some of them that you see actually don't exist anymore. You just see them every night. And we're spinning 1,000 miles per hour. You just don't feel it, and it makes them look like they're moving while they're actually still. Or the stars look like they're moving in the sky because they move in the sky. Very profound, I know. So, of course, all empirical evidence shows you that the Earth doesn't move. It shows you that the Earth is flat, and it's also geocentric. Geocentric means the center of everything. So one question we get a lot when people cannot debate any of this or haven't heard any of this, they say, why would they even lie? You know, and that's a reasonable question. This seems like a petty thing to lie about. Why would all the governments invest so much time and money into lying about this, right? Well, I use this analogy a lot to put this into perspective. Say you had a girlfriend, and I walked up to you with my iPhone. I said, bro, I got some bad news. Your girl's cheating on you. I got a video of it. Would you say, no, I'm not looking at the evidence. I don't want to see that video. There's no way she would do that. Until you can tell me why she would lie to me, I don't want to see the evidence. Of course you wouldn't do that. You would look at the video, find out she lied, and then maybe try to figure out why she lied. So what you should do is look at the evidence, find out they lied, then try to figure it out. The motivation for lying is independent of the fact that they did lie. But I will give you some speculation. I won't leave you hanging. You're asking us why we think they lied. Well, for one, I'm not really sure. I'm not the one that lied. I'm just trying to help you out. But anyway, we give NASA $60 million every single day. But the government would never lie for money, right? So we'll throw that one out. $60 million every single day of taxpayer money to give us cartoons. But we'll throw that one out. There's again something called the Antarctic Treaty. They don't let you privately explore past the 60th south latitude, which means they are hiding land and they are hiding resources. Do you think that that would be good motivation to lie, to hide huge portions of land masses that the normal people don't know about and just the more rich, wealthy people in the know about? Of course it is. They started entire wars for land and resources, one of them being the Vietnam War, where they actually said that Vietnam attacked our ship in the Gulf of Tonkin, and then we had to go to war with them, and they have since declassified and admitted that in fact we attacked our own ship, and made it look like it was Vietnam so we could justify war. This is declassified, take it up with them. And of course, they went and got a whole bunch of opium from the Himalayan foothills because the CIA is the #1 trafficker of drugs in the world, but I digress. That sounds like a group of people that we can really trust, huh? So we've covered they get $60 million a day. We've covered that they're hiding land and resources. There's also some psychological impact to this lie. You don't feel like you're moving, but you have to blindly believe that you're spinning 1,000 miles per hour. You see that the horizon is always flat. That's in fact what the word horizon means. It comes from the word horizontal. Horizontal means flat. Every single time that you see the horizon, it's horizontal, which is where the word horizon comes from, but you have to blindly believe it's actually curving because the scientist said so. When you see the sun moving in the sky, you have to believe it's actually sitting still, and during a sunset, you're falling backwards 1,000 miles per hour, and it just looks like that. You have to blindly believe that the sun and the moon look like they're the same size, but in fact, the moon is 400 times smaller, just coincidentally, exactly 400 times closer as well, so they look like they're the same size. And so what happens is, you feel like you cannot trust your own senses, you cannot trust your own observations, you can no longer tell the difference between truth and fiction, authority to find out what the truth is. That makes for a very good slave state. It's a psychological impact of brainwash. In addition to that, they tell you that everything came from nothing. You're a tiny speck of dust in this ever-expanding universe where lights are thousands of light years away. Lightning struck primordial soup, and over the course of billions of years, rock turned into fish that grew feet, that turned into rodents, that turned into apes, that turned into humans. And it took billions of years. There's nothing special about the Earth or you. You're just a random tiny speck of dust. You're lucky to be here. It was just random, chaotic happenstance. Of course, provably the Earth is not spinning and it is flat, which means it is geocentric, as we discussed. That means the center of everything. If the Earth is the center of everything that exists, that means it had to be placed there. There's not another scientifically viable option. It's the center of everything that exists. That means someone placed it there. So they're hiding a creator. They're making you think you can't trust your observations. You have to turn to the authority to figure it out. They're taking $60 million a day to lie to children with cartoons, admittedly cartoons, and they're hiding land and they're hiding resources. There's 4 very fundamental, non-debatable reasons they would lie. So now that we got that out of the way, the real question is, when does the government not lie? Enlighten me. They've started wars all around the world for all recorded history of the United States. They used to condone slavery. They told you that paper passports popped out of a fire explosion and floated down and told you where the bad guy was, and that we went and fought guys in the Middle East for weapons of mass destruction that they then came out and admitted did not actually exist, but yet we stayed there for 13 more years anyway. On the same exact day as 9/11, they were supposedly running a military drill where, just in case someone tried to hijack planes and run them into the trade centers, we're going to run a drill. And that's the official excuse of why they didn't know the planes were off route, because they thought it was part of the drill on the same exact day at the same exact time as 9/11. So they lied about weapons of mass destruction. Why would they lie? You tell me. So when does the government not lie? Why would you blindly believe the government? NASA's a governmental agency. People seem to think NASA's the one exception as they walk around with their NASA shirts that they basically hand out like at Walmart and TJ Maxx for like $3. Please just wear it. Just wear it everywhere. Of course, NASA actually means to deceive in Hebrew. Probably just another coincidence as it has a snake tongue going through its logo. So what a lot of people say is it's not just NASA, the government, that goes to space. Also, private companies go to space. What about SpaceX? Well, I told you that Elon Musk was actually predicted in a book written by Werner von Braun, an SS officer of the Nazi regime brought over here in Operation Paperclip that took us to the moon. And so he predicted Elon would found the first civilization on Mars in the 50s, and sure enough, that's what they say he's doing right now. But actually, SpaceX gets hundreds of millions of dollars from the government every year, and Elon Musk is on quote saying, "We would have never gone to space without NASA." Also, this same psychopath that wants to put a chip in your brain, he claims that they shot a convertible up into space, which, by the way, is literally impossible. They said they took it right off the lot, shot a convertible up into space. I know most of you guys don't know anything about it. Whenever asked in an interview, a lot of people are questioning if that's real. He said, well, you know it's real because it looks so fake. That's a verbatim quote from Elon Musk. So, of course, it is just an extension of NASA. They said they couldn't get to space without NASA. And you also can't have tires with air pressure in a vacuum of space, by the way. And they said they took it off the lot and sent it into space as is, but they did make one change. They took the rear view mirror off. If you're familiar with movies or studios and how they're made, there's something called the fourth wall. You can only show the audience 3 walls. You cannot show them the 4th wall because that's where the director is, the camera is, the crew is. Well, conveniently enough, they took the rear view mirror off that would show the fourth wall whenever they told you that this convertible went to space. So supposedly SpaceX shot a convertible Tesla into space and it's just floating around up there. But we just couldn't verify where the fourth wall was. And apparently the paint is good next to the sun in a vacuum while air pressure and tires just chill and it's no big deal. Okay, so no, private companies don't go to space. You can't go to space. We can actually get a little bit more technical about it. There's something called the second law of thermodynamics. Okay, the second law of thermodynamics says that high pressure will go to low pressure, heat will go to cold. So I'm gonna define it as it applies to this, but I'll give you a simple analogy in a second. I'm not gonna leave you hanging. It says that entropy will increase, pressure will fill the available space, systems seek spontaneous equilibrium. Spontaneous, instant equilibrium. Okay, so the high pressure goes to low pressure. So very simply, if you have a soda, the reason that it's fresh is because it's carbonated, it's sealed very tightly, it has a higher pressure in it. As soon as you open your soda, it goes psh, and then it equalizes to the lower pressure around it instantaneously. This is the second law of thermodynamics. High pressure goes to low pressure, heat goes to cold. Like when you make a cup of coffee, you set it on, cools down because the heat's going to the colder air around it instantaneously. It's called the second law of thermodynamics. Not debatable, not a theory, just a natural law of existence that has always happened. So how could you have a pressurized system with gas pressure in it, which actually has the gas pressure of oxygen that, well, some of you guys are choosing to breathe? Okay, how could you have gas pressure sitting next to a vacuum of 10 to the negative 17 torr? It would instantaneously fill the vacuum. The only way you can have gas pressure is have a container. It's actually in the word pressure. Pressure. It presses on the walls of a container. Gas pressure is the energy or force exerted on the walls of a container. Gas particles bounce around off each other and off the walls of a container, and they build up pressure. Without container, you can't have gas pressure. So how do we have 14.7 psi to surface level? How do we have gas pressure on the Earth if it's actually sitting next to a vacuum without any container? Why don't you try and turn your vacuum cleaner on and try and put some gas beside it and see if you can get it to just sit beside it and not move? Of course not. It would instantaneously fill the vacuum. So what they define space as is literally impossible. It's literally impossible. Of course they didn't go there. They couldn't go there. It's something that couldn't exist. It's in violation of natural law. You might ask yourself, why would they make a claim so stupid? This is because they actually had no choices. The best they could propose for the Earth to be a spinning ball in a vacuum or in space, the space has to be empty. Okay, that's the only way it can work. So they had to say it was a vacuum. So a lot of people bring up gravity. They don't really know what it is. Most people think it's mass attracting mass. If you've ever heard of that. Mass attracting mass is no longer what gravity is. That's been outdated for over 100 years. That was superseded in 1915 by the theory of relativity. Gravity is no longer an intrinsic property of matter. So anyway, the theory of relativity proposed by Einstein, who was a psychopath, by the way. I'll get to that maybe in a second. It says that gravity is the effect of the bending and warping of space-time. Two concepts, space-time. You can't bend space and time. Can you bend freedom? Can you bend love? Of course not. But anyway, when we assume the theory of relativity, the modern definition of gravity is true, and then we apply it to the supposed universe, it is off by 95%. That's in 2021 using Stanford, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, all the quote-unquote scientists of the world. The best they can come up with in 2021 is still off by 95%. No, it's not 95% right. It's off by 95%. It's called dark matter and dark energy. You guys think I'm crazy because I don't believe in a fairy tale. They can't even mathematically propose yet that I went out and tested and proved that it isn't true. A lot of you guys might think that's a bold claim, but it is not. Technology outpaced the lie. So there's something called the Nikon P900 and the Nikon P1000. It is the strongest zoom commercially available. The P900 has an 83x zoom. The P1000 has a 125x zoom. So what you can do is you can take this camera out and you can zoom in great distances and see if there's a curvature there. Like, for example, say that there's curvature and you shouldn't see this building from 100 miles away, okay? And if I take my camera out and I zoom in and can see the entire building top to bottom without the curvature blocking it, that means the Earth is not curving between me and that building. It's literally impossible. But we went out all over the world and tested it. So if the surface of the Earth isn't curving anywhere, what is it? Curving. You're crushing. If the surface of the Earth isn't curving anywhere, it is of course flat. So it's not curving in Florida or New York or Tennessee or Kansas or California or Japan or Russia or Australia or China. So where is it curving? How is this ball flat everywhere? How are the oceans all flat and they make up 70% of the earth when water always finds its level? What this waterfall is doing is trying to find its level. This water's going down to find its level. Water's always in the process of finding its level. And again, if the globe Earth is real, this waterfall is actually tilted backwards, going upside down. So if you think that waterfall is going upside down, I'm gonna need you to chill out. So anyway, I'm offering $200 cash to anyone here that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth correctly. I've been offering all around the U.S. We're traveling the U.S. I've been forced to do this. Believe it or not, I don't like to jump on a mic and get ridiculed by hundreds of people that I'm like buzz killing your night. But I've been kicked off of all the major platforms. They forcibly censored us. And if you didn't know, the entire world shut down the same day last year. So it's kind of getting real out here. So I'm trying to go around and wake people up while we still have time. So I am forced to go around the United States. We've been all along the East Coast so far. No one won the money in Philly or Washington, D.C. or Atlantic City or New York City or New Orleans or Chattanooga or Knoxville. No one ever wins the money. Which goes to show you that 99% of the general population knows nothing about this. They think nothing about it, right? And that should make you think, why does no one know anything about the Earth if we all know what it is, supposedly? We should have been taught this in elementary school. This is because if they taught you the truth about the supposed Earth, you would figure out that you can test it and see if it's true. So what they do is they pull a globe out when you're 5 and they say, look, this is where you live. Even though it says not for educational purposes, decorative purposes only on the bottom. It's all disproportionate, can't be used to navigate, has no relation to reality. They say, this is where you live. And then the 5-year-old student says, wait, wouldn't I fall off? And the teacher says, no, gravity. She says, oh, okay, checks out, when's recess? And then you never think about it again. And they tell you stories about different planets and their names, and they show you cartoons and tell you to remember them. One of the questions we get are, all the other planets flat? Okay, so the Earth is the bottom floor in layman's terms. The Earth is the bottom of everything. Everything in the sky moves over top of us and resets for all recorded history. The quote-unquote planets are just other lights in the sky. The word planet actually comes from wanderer. That's what planet means. It means wanderer. It's a wandering light in the sky. We document them all the time. You can zoom in. They are not spheres. They are not solid. They are not static, which means still. They're pulsating orbs of light in the sky, just like the other stars are, and they all move east to west and reset around Polaris for all recorded history. In addition, say that these lights were actually spheres, which they're not, right? It's like walking up to a pool table, me grabbing a pool ball and saying, look, this pool ball is a ball. That means the table is also a ball. That's dumb. If I go into your house and I look up and say, look at that light bulb, that means the floor is a light bulb. That makes no sense. Okay? So the Earth is the bottom and the sky moves over top of it. And what this has is very serious implications. That means the Earth is the center of everything. That means you're special. You have a spirit. You were created. There was a creator that had to put that Earth there. There's no other way that it could possibly happen. So when they tell you came from apes and nothing special about you and you guys are nihilistic, which means apathetic or not to care about anything, you blindly obey all of the government's orders, you can start to realize why this is a big deal. Why is this guy out here on a microphone? Well, it changes everything. It shows you that there's a creator. And it shows you that all the major world governments are working together. So it is not America versus Russia versus China. It is governments versus people. Okay, so as you guys argue about the guy who can't speak coherent sentences, Joe Biden, or Donald Trump, the psycho who got bailed out by the Rothschilds, the truth is they're dividing you with Republican or Democrat, right or left, black or white, whatever they can to keep you distracted and to keep you divided, because it's called divide and conquer. By the way, here's another uncomfortable truth for a lot of you guys. Most of you guys watch news. You watch mainstream news. So do you watch CNN or Fox News or CNBC or ABC? Well, I don't watch any of them. There's something called Operation Mockingbird. It's declassified. Okay? This is declassified and admitted by the government. It's called Operation Mockingbird. The CIA has taken over mainstream media. They have infiltrated the news to control the public narrative to be consistent with their geopolitical agenda of the time and for national security purposes. They admit that mainstream news is run by the CIA, and actually when a CIA representative was asked about this in Congress, they were asked, so are you saying that the news anchors are CIA agents? And the CIA representative said, we'll have to continue this conversation behind closed doors. So they use the news to scare you and give you orders and divide you and keep you distracted. Most people here are just going to post a pic for the gram, go listen to Polo G's new album, and then go watch their Netflix series. No one cares about anything, but you should start to wake up. The entire world shut down on the same day this year. They started giving you lockdowns like they give people in prisons. Yay, America's so free, we have lockdowns like prisons do. We have curfews like prisons do. Like we're all 10 years old. You guys aren't realizing that the whole world has agreed that you should go into lockdown. It's getting kind of weird. It's getting kind of weird. So I can't get into specifics about that because I'll get kicked off of YouTube. That's how free of a country we are. And all hell Biden. He said that we can breathe air again as long as we take what they give us. And then luckily we might be allowed to celebrate our freedom and independence as long as the government allows us to on July 4th. What a clown world. Okay? There's something called the Declaration of Independence. It says that you get your rights from the Creator. The Constitution is a list or articulation of those rights. It's not the government that wrote down what you're allowed to do. It's people that said, look, we have these inherent, inalienable rights from the Creator, and you cannot infringe on them. And now you guys have wadded them up and thrown them away and let them give you lockdowns and curfews, but I digress. So the point is that it's getting pretty real. The psychopaths that seem to be very powerful, and they cast this lie onto you about the earth and many other things, and lie to you about what's on the news. They want a new world order. It's actually on the back of the US $1 bill. It says New World Order. It literally says that on the back of your dollar, okay? It says New World Order in Latin around the all-seeing eye on top of a pyramid. So they want to combine everything, remove boundaries of countries, and so we probably need to wake up. So just a quick recap. Supposedly we went to the moon in 1969, but we just can't go back because we destroyed the technology, and it's a painful process to build it back after we brought Nazis over here to take us to the moon. I guess we can't go back to the moon because we're fresh out of Nazis. Okay, and we've never been back. There's no real pictures. They claim that's the only real pictures from '72 when they supposedly went to the moon. And when they show you pictures now, they admit they're just cartoons. The planets they show you are just cartoons. They say they have a picture of a black hole, but they admit it's just a cartoon. So all we give NASA $60 million a day to do is show us cartoons, admittedly, computer-generated images, and to lie to children. And I'll say this in conclusion. I don't really do this as much for all the adults as for the children. If you're open-minded and you're adult and you want to know the truth, that's what's up. That's cool. But I actually do this because children are being lied to, right? So children believe whatever authority figures tell them because they're innocent, right? They believe, they project their trustworthy nature onto you. They think you would never lie to them. Now, most of you guys aren't lying to your children about the earth on purpose. You think the earth's a magic spinning ball in a vacuum. I get it. But they're being lied to nonetheless. It's the same outcome, okay? And they're being told that nothing's special about them. They came from apes, that they're a tiny speck of dust and nothing matters. Nothing could be further from the truth. These children are made beautiful in the image of the Creator. They have a spirit. They're very special, and you do not need to allow them to be lied to. And in fact, if the earth is a spinning ball, then why can't you tell the children both sides of it? Tell them what the evidence is and let them figure it out. Why do you have to brainwash them with cartoons and not let them know what the truth is? Why don't you tell them that when they see the sunset, either the sun is moving away and setting, or it's sitting still and they're falling backwards 1,000 miles per hour and it just looks like that? Why don't you tell them when they see the water's always flat, that it's actually just looking flat, but it's curved, you just can't see it, and the horizon's horizontal, but it's curved and you just can't tell, and that whenever the stuff moves in the sky like the stars, they're actually sitting still, you're just spinning 1,000 miles per hour and you can't feel it? Why don't you tell them what both sides of it is? Because children are smart and they can see through it. As soon as you show the child the globe earth, they say, I would fall off of that. They say, couldn't I dig a hole down to China to prove it then? They instantly want to test the claim. They instantly see through it. And you have to brainwash them and ingrain all these lies into them from a young age. I do not blame you guys. We were all told the same lie. We were all told the same lie our entire childhood. Right? I used to think the earth was a globe. He used to think the earth was a globe. Every flat earther used to think the earth was a globe. So I'm about to take a break, but what I'm going to let you know is a lot of you think this is a crazy, fringe, small group of people. The truth is there are 16 million flat earthers in Brazil alone. There are hundreds of millions of us. That's why it's forcibly censored. I've been kicked off PayPal, bro. A payment processing company has kicked me off for talking about the earth and telling you that you have a spirit and you're special and the Creator loves you. Oh man, how dangerous. The only reason this is dangerous misinformation is it shows that the government is lying to you. That's it, okay? So there are many of us who are trying to wake you up, but they have censored us into corners of the internet where they take our channels down, they take away all of our funding, they don't let us get the truth out there, they ostracize us. I wasn't allowed to accept a six-figure job offer because I wouldn't take my flat earth content down. I get death threats. I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm just making a point to you guys. A lot of us, it takes a lot of boldness to stand up in the face of all the ostracism to try to tell the truth to you guys. And I would encourage you guys to maybe step back and think about what's more important instead of, oh man, I gotta post a pic for the gram. There's a little bit more than the gram. The CIA loves it, trust me, it's not going anywhere. So if you want $200 cash, all you have to do is come up here and get 3 basic questions about the globe Earth correct, which of course no one ever wins. I'll make the point that no one knows anything about the Earth, so how would you know I'm crazy whenever I debate aerospace engineers, astrophysics professors, I went out and measured the surface of the Earth, I read the theory of relativity, I know every single aspect of this, as do millions of us, and you know nothing about it. How could you possibly know that we're wrong when you're still ignorant of what you think we're crazy for not believing in? That's like saying the Bible's real, but you haven't read it yet. So anyway, $200 cash to anyone that gets the 3 basic questions correctly. If you have any honest, here and talk to us. If anyone thinks they have a question that can stump the crazy flat earther, feel free to come up here and stump me. I guarantee, give you a QR code to take us to the information. There's also something called the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Clock app. If you don't want to come up here because you're embarrassed, I get it. Most people like try to make fun of anyone, and I get it's a lot of boldness to come up here. You can pull your phone out, go to the App Store, type in Flat Earth. You will see Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Clock app, and it will answer all of your questions. It'll show you where the sun and the moon are over top of the Earth. It will show you how it all works. And every question you can think of is in there. It will take you to certain YouTube videos that you will not find if you type them in. If you type my channel in and the exact name of my video, you will not find it. You'll find a hit piece on me that's got 500,000 views, but you won't ever actually find my truck and I'm on my backup, because that's how free of a country we're in. So anyway, if you want to come up here, we have plenty of business cards. It's got our QR code. You can find me on IG or whatever. And you can try to keep up with Flat Earth, and we'll point you to the right information. Again, that app has a lot of good sources, a lot of good books, etc. This is the only way you will find the real information. If you Google it, you'll get nothing but misinformation. All you'll get is how we know the Earth's not flat, Flat Earth Society, which says the craziest things I've ever heard, and no real flat earthers in it. So you will think that we're stupid, and you'll leave and never think about it again. It's the most attacked thing in the world because it changes everything. It shows you that the governments are lying, and that there's a creator that loves you. I'm going to take a break and drink some water. Peace out. Getting better. What's up, guys? Someone clap. What up, everybody? In a world crushing. Thank you, man. Awesome, man, as usual. Thank you, crushing. Thank you. Thank you for all the compliments. Ladle that gravy, yo. I'm trying, bro. I know it's pretty dark, but it's all good. I mean, we can't really do much about it. No, because the light would only show me when I'm right here anyway. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, don't forget the Rogan's up for sure. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play that Flat Earth song. So I gotta go use the bathroom real fast, and then I'll be right back. So I'm gonna play the Flat Earth song. And will you just make sure the stream doesn't go down? Got it. Alright, so, this is like my favorite one to play around people. Yo, did they take it down? And I'll read the chat in a second, bro. I love you guys. I just gotta use the bathroom. Alright, so we're gonna play the song. It's 5 minutes long. To take an intermission while I go use the bathroom, I'll be back.
Yeah.
Wake up, you need to wake up, you need to wake up, you need to wake
We
up.
used to play pretend.
Wake up.
We would build a rocket ship and then we fly far away.
Wake up.
We used to play pretend.
Wake
We
up.
used to dream of outer space, but now they're laughing at our face, saying,
Wake up, you need to wake up, you need to
we would build a rocket ship and then we fly far away, saying,
wake up, you need to wake up, you need to
we used to play pretend.
Wake up.
Used to dream of outer space, but now they're laughing at our face, saying,
Wake up, you need to wake up.
Yeah.
Wake
Land of the thieves, home of the slaves. 19 billion, that's 50 million a day. That's what NASA gets, just a lie to the human race. Pretending to go to space, but they fake it right to our face. And they say they moonwalk, but that just wasn't the case. Trying to tell us there's a rover on Mars, but it's a fake. Ay, CGI satellites, but I don't see a trace. people everywhere waking up, we're shaking up the place. So if you let me, I can shake up the thoughts that you tend to think of. Cause I fell in love with truth and I don't ever wanna break up. Let's take a look what's underneath the Hollywood makeup. So much that gets put in our face is straight made up. This place they call a planet that they lied about the shape of. They can play pretend, but me, I'm calling for Freemasons and Zionists, the ones that put the eye on it. Try to say they scientists, but I can't say I'm buying it. Do you know what science is and how that they decided it? They just keep rewriting it to keep us from enlightenment, knowing that they lied it. Stay promoting violence, knowing that we're gullible products of our environment. No, I can't be silent, and nor will I be compliant. Not reliant on the tyrants to fall if we're not defiant. I can't seem to find the curvature. Total social overture. The sun is small and local to the earth as it encircles her. Nothing like the lies of elite sun worshippers, but up against the Bible, I don't even need interpreters. Earth is flat and motionless. Open up a scope and see a boat across the ocean mist. Chemtrails clogging up what used to be an openness, and fluoridated water coming concentrated doses. I'm conscious of the brokenness. People all over the place deceived. I hate to see. Space is not a place you see. It's fake. It's only make-believe. Constellations prove that the earth doesn't move, but the liars on wires wanna take away the truth. I'm screaming.
Wake up, you need to wake up, you need to wake up.
Used to play pretend,
Wake up.
used to dream of outer space, but now they're laughing at the face, saying,
Wake up, you need to wake up, you need to wake up, you need to wake up.
Wherefore he saith, awake thou sleepest, and arise from the dead. Christ shall give thee light. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise.
Have you ever wondered why, when you looked up in the sky, exactly how the sun and moon ended up the same size? It's 90 million miles and 250,000. Y'all can beat my poker face, cause that defies some odds. Yeah, I'll tell you this is gambling, with every dose of Ambien. You're managing to transfer in, so let me be your wake-up call. Let me be your wake-up call. You ever been to space at all? Who's above us? One that loves us or aliens that hate us all? Man, I used to catch some Z's on this flat plane. Then the alarm clock rang and all that changed. Like, motionless. Please tell me you see how flat this ocean is. The devil lied to us, lied to you, lied to me. Tried to hide my creator, made me play some hide and seek. But he speaks, and if I seek him, that he won't hide from me. If I knock it, he will open it and show me what I need. That greed is the enemy. Forked tongue of the serpent as he dangles from the trees, and trying to keep us all far, far away from obedience. Trying to take our will and our next of kins. Had us living for the sun, not the S-O-N. So good morning, beautiful. Time to rise and shine. Time to breathe this morning air. Open those sleepy eyes. Yeah, good morning, wonderful. Time to shake them dreams. Feel a Savior's love for you. This world ain't what you think, man. Good morning, beautiful. Time to rise and shine. Time to breathe this morning air. Open those sleepy eyes. Yeah, good morning, wonderful. Time to shake them dreams. Feel the Savior's love for you. This world ain't what you think. This world ain't what you think. It's time to
Wake up, you need to wake up, you need to wake up, you need to wake up.
used to play pretend, used to play pretend.
Wake
We
up.
would build a rocket ship and then we fly far away.
Wake up.
We used to play pretend, used to play pretend.
Wake up.
Used to dream of outer space, but now they're laughing at the face, saying,
Wake up, you need to wake up, you need to
we would build a rocket ship and then we fly far away. Saying,
wake up, you need to wake up, you need to
we used to play pretend, we used to play pretend.
Wake up.
Used to dream of outer space, but now they're laughing at the face, saying,
wake up, you need to wake up,
Yeah.
wake up.
What's up, guys? Yeah, I like power walked over there, bro, just to get back for the song change. Alright. Yeah, B.O.B. just cusses a lot. You know what I'm saying? You guys, what do you guys think I should talk about? Flat Earth in the scripture, alright. What else? The new audience probably every 15 minutes, so keep, yeah, no, it just kind of gets reiterative for the audience, you know. All right, I'm just gonna jump back on there. I'll pull the phone out on occasion and try to check it. It's just hard when I get like worked up and caught up in the moment. I think you should read scripture. I don't have the Bible with me. What lines of the presidents? Okay. I don't want to talk about the building in Miami. I think it's a psyop. Tell them that Antarctica is a 200-foot ice wall that holds everything in. Yeah, I'm sure. Maybe grab some cards. I don't want to wait for Chris to get back because I can't keep an eye on everything and an eye on the stream. They attacked the stream last time, you know. So he should be back in a couple minutes, and then I'll jump back on the mic. And I'm sorry it's dark while I'm up here. Like there's not really much I can do about it. So it is pretty cool though. I'll show you guys the waterfall lit up at the end of the stream or something. So any other suggestions while I'm over here? Jesus' real name, okay. Masons, okay. You guys are a couple hours away from me. Which direction, bro? Yeah, I mean, Chris will be back in just a second. Like, I have all kinds of valuable stuff up here, and when the stream goes out, I need him. That lady says she was a flat earther. No. I haven't visited the statue of Nikola Tesla yet. We're doing that tomorrow morning. No, I'm not going to talk about him because I think that's a psyop. So that they can make it look like the Q thing is legit. It's adding to the psyop of, you know, taking down the cabal in the future. That's my opinion. Whatever, I'm just gonna do it without him. Why do I think it's a psyop? Because I just think it's gonna add to the idea that they're gonna have to take the cabal down. The cabal's freaking out and trying to get him and blah, 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 blah. That guy has a pretty sketchy past, I don't know. I mean, he's all over mainstream news, bro. Do you think they're gonna put me on mainstream news? Do you think they ever put me on mainstream news? What about Eric Dubé? What about B.O.B. talking about the earth? And that's like the one exception because he already had millions of people that listen to him. They try to make him look stupid. Y'all will lead you what to talk about? Yeah, of course.
Oh my gosh!
I think Chris might have turned the mic thing on. Thanks, Chris. Also, yeah, Chris is a legend, bro. Without Chris, this would be impossible. I thought B.O.B. rolled with the Flat Earth Society. He did take a picture with the Flat Earth Society, yeah. To be fair, he said, like, dude, debate the people that specialize in it. I'm just telling you it's not adding up. He said, debate Eric Dubé. And we all know that 200 proofs the Earth's not a spinning ball is legit. Eric Dubé can debate. Oh, I hate that word. Who's anti-Mediterranean language? I think that's dumb. That word's used against me all the time to try to shut me down whenever I say truth. I don't know anyone that's against the Mediterranean language, I'm just saying. Hebrew's like my favorite language. Where did Chris go? Whatever.
In the world. Hey, do you guys think this waterfall's going upside down? Do you think the waterfall's going upside down? No, you're right, it's not. If the Earth's a ball, then that waterfall's going upside down. I'm just saying. It said the Earth was a spinning sphere. That means that that waterfall's going upside down. Seems legit. If you think that waterfall's going upside down, I need you to chill on the tequila, bro. That's dumb. Because supposedly Antarctica or Australia's upside down right now, right? They're flying planes upside down relative to Australia. We're upside down, and that waterfall's tilted backwards, going upside down. You just can't tell. You know what that waterfall's doing? The water is falling. It's not rising. That's stupid. There's not a spinning ball in a vacuum. That's dumb. So I'm gonna tell you guys some stuff. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about one thing. You guys still watch the news? I'm gonna have to bust your bubble here. The CIA runs the mainstream news. So if you watch CNN or Fox or CNBC or any other nonsense, it's all run by the CIA. It's called Operation Mockingbird. It's declassified. So the CIA admitted that they run the news. In fact, it was discussed in front of Congress, and then whenever they said, wait, are you saying that news anchors are CIA agents? He said, we're going to need to continue this conversation behind closed doors. That's what the CIA representative said. It's called Operation Mockingbird. So you should stop watching the news. You're just watching the CIA talking points. And they all agree on a few things, like you should be scared of the air, etc. I can't get specific or YouTube will kick my channel off. This is actually my backup, because I'm already on a strike on the other one. What a free country. We're such a free country, we have lockdowns now, like my homie's in a pen. You know, like when you're in prison, you have to chill in the pod until you have a curfew, and then you go into lockdown back in your cell. Oh, how convenient this free country has prison terms like curfews and lockdowns now. Seems legit. Can't wait to celebrate our freedom on July 4th, as long as the government lets us. So anyway, have you guys ever heard of Freemasons? Guys, I promise that the gram is going nowhere. The gram is still going to be there tomorrow. The CIA loves it. Yo, Polo G just dropped that heat. I don't want to listen to this crazy white boy killing my vibe. I'm sorry I got to do this, but I'm censored as I have to go around the U.S. and talk on the mic. Anyway, there's somebody called Freemasons, if you've ever heard of Freemasons. They're like the most powerful people in the world. Now, 95% of Masons don't know this stuff I'm about to break down to you, okay? They keep most people in there so they have a cloak or disguise so no one knows what they're really up to. No, Masons are good guys. They just give charity to everyone. No. Freemasonry is Luciferianism. So, if you've ever heard of Lucifer, this is what they say in their own literature. I'm going somewhere with this though, just check me out. You can only get to the 32 to 32nd degree. You do all these creepy little rituals, like mock sacrifices and playing dress up in the dark with grown men. And then you get up to the 32nd degree, you actually have to be voted on to the 33rd degree. And the only way they vote on you is if you find out some of the big secrets. They give you access to the library, they don't tell you the secrets, they sit back and see if you pass the test. So if some of you guys are Masons, I would strongly encourage you get out. But I'll help you out so that way you can get to the 33rd degree. And by the way, I know about your secret little word they told you when you were in the 3rd degree. So anyway, in order to be a 33rd degree Freemason, you have to know what the Earth is. You have to know that the earth is not a spinning ball. You have to know the earth is actually flat, it's stationary, it's geocentric, that means the center of everything, and if there's a container. You're not allowed in the 33rd degree. So you guys think it's crazy, but the most powerful, successful people that run the world, they know what the earth is. If you've ever seen the Freemasonic symbol, it has a G in it. The G stands for many things. One of them is geometria, which is measurement of the earth, and that's why there's a square and a compass, because that's how you measure a flat earth. Just a coincidence. So if you've ever heard of Freemasonry, then you should know what the G stands for. It stands for Gnosticism, Grand Architect, 7th letter of the alphabet. 7 is a sacred number of sacred geometry. Gnosticism, many things. And geometria. Also, in order to make it to the 33rd degree of Freemasonry, you have to know that you're a Luciferian. Okay, so if you guys have ever heard of Lucifer, you might have heard of the number 666 before. So you guys say I'm a conspiracy theorist. I think y'all are coincidence theorists. What's up?
Move that way a little bit.
I can't hear you. Okay, so let's see how many times this globe Earth model that was proposed by Masons coincidentally has 666 in it. Okay, the supposed circumference of the Earth in nautical miles is 21,600. That's 6 times 6 times 600. The North and South Arctic circles are supposedly at 66.6 degrees on this globe Earth. That's fake and a lie. We are on a 66.6 degree tilt as we wobble and go around the sun 66,600 miles per hour with the curvature rate on the surface of 0.666 feet per mile squared, utilizing gravity, just made up nonsense, supposedly discovered by Isaac Newton in 1666, and the number is 6.66. They rounded up to 6.7. And then there's something called the Selenilian eclipse that debunks the globe, where the sun and the moon are both in the sky during the lunar eclipse, literally impossible on the globe Earth model. And guess what year they said they first recorded this? 1666. Oh, those are just a bunch of coincidences. You guys are coincidence theorists. So the Freemasons know what the Earth is. The Earth is flat. So I know a lot of you guys think it's crazy when you hear the Earth is flat. You're like, are you a flat earther? I heard something about that. I heard the Flat Earth Society. There's not one real flat earther in the Flat Earth Society. They say stupid things like we think you can fall off the edge of the Earth. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. They say that we think that you're a disc around spherical planets. No one thinks that. Okay, the soul lore, it lures your soul. The solar system is a lie, okay? And we know that. The Earth is the bottom floor, and everything in the sky moves over top of it. Okay, planets, quote unquote, are just wandering lights. They look just like the other stars, and they just all move east to west and reset for all recorded history. There is no solar system, there is no disk in a solar system. Many people say, well, wouldn't you fall off the edge? Or there's something called the Antarctic Treaty, and you're not privately allowed to explore that area. It's illegal. Every major world country has agreed it's illegal to privately explore the Antarctic region. Antarctica is known to have the highest elevation in the world. So there's like a 200 to 300 foot ice wall around the water that contains the water, and they do not allow you go explore that area. That means China, Russia, America, you name it, they've all agreed on it. Even though they're enemies, they've all agreed to this peace treaty of Antarctica, and with their differences aside, to say that you peasants aren't allowed to explore the Earth. That would prove the Earth is a ball. Someone tried to circumnavigate it by the name of Captain Cook, all documented. You can all go verify this if you just put your dumb phones off of the ground for a second and actually research it. He actually traveled 68,000 miles, and he saw an ice shelf the entire way. Okay? So the only way you can have water is if you have a container. It conforms to its container and it finds its level. 70% of the Earth is ocean water. It's of course level and it's contained. The ice ring contains it. So no, we don't claim you can fall off the edge. It's literally illegal to even get close to a theoretical edge. It could go forever for all we know. We don't know. It's illegal to go there. And there's actually something called the firmament. It can come down and touch down and contain everything. How are you going to go through the firmament? Let me give you a very simple analogy as you guys mock me from the distance because you guys can't actually come up here and debate it or anything. Can you fall off the edge of a lake? Wow, you guys are really crushing. You guys are crushing, bro. Can you fall off the edge of a pond? Of course not. You have a shore. You have a shore on the pond. You have a shore on the lake. You have a shore controlling and containing the waters known as the ocean. Now, what you think is that the oceans are bending convexly around the outside of a sphere as it spins in a vacuum. There's actually $1 million reward. That's $1 million. $1 million to anyone that can demonstrate water sticking to the outside of a sphere as it spins. And no one's been able to get the bread, and it's been available for 2 years. What's up with that? 2 years, you can win $1 million. No one ever wins the money. I've been offering $200 all night, all around the U.S. to anyone that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth correctly. No one ever wins the money. And they're basic questions about the supposed model that I'm crazy for not believing in. So you don't know anything about it, but you know I'm crazy for not believing in it. The first question is, how many times does the Earth supposedly spin every 24 hours? How many times does the globe Earth supposedly rotate every 24 hours, every day? It's the easiest question I could come up with. If you get that right and there's 2 questions right, you win $200. Used to be 100, we bumped it up because it doesn't really matter. So if you think I'm crazy for not thinking this is true, you should at least know what it is. It's like telling me the Bible's real, you've just never read Genesis before. What a cool story. I don't care what you think about the Bible. You haven't read it yet. I did read it. Speaking of the Bible, every ancient civilization ever said that the Earth is flat. Now, they told you they were primitive, even though we can't replicate the pyramids and blah, 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 blah. Every ancient civilization, that includes the Hebrew civilization. So Hebrew cosmology is a flat, stationary Earth with a firmament. Psalms 19:1 says the firmament shows the handiwork of the Creator. Firmament is something that's impenetrable, strong as bronze. It's stretched out like a tent over the earth, and it contains us like grasshopper inhabitants. For anyone out here that claims they believe in the Bible, and they think that the earth is a ball, you have to twist what the Bible says and say that it actually says the earth's a ball. When it says it takes shape like clay underneath a sill. So kings used to sign their letters with clay, and they would press the sill down, and it would take the shape of the engraving of the sill. That's what the earth takes shape like a sill pressing down on clay. It also says that the earth has corners. How do you have corners on a ball? It also says he looked over the face of the whole earth. How do you have the face of the whole earth on a ball? He also says that it's immovable and fixed. How is immovable and fixed means spinning and revolving, shooting through space? You have to bend the scriptures. So I know some people out here believe the scriptures, some people don't. So this is for those that believe in it. The Bible is 100% objectively a flat earth book, as is every single religion that exists other than Scientology and Mormonism. Right? That's it. Every single religion that exists. Of course, I'm actually anti-religious, but I happen to know the scriptures are true. His name wasn't Jesus. His name was Yeshua, Yahusha, short for Yehoshua. His name is not God. That's the Babylonian deity for fortune and luck. You say hallelujah. Yah is the poetic short version of the Creator. You have some say Yehovah or Yahuwah. Anyway, I'm anti-religion, but I know the scriptures are true. The Messiah actually hated religion. My entire point is that the scriptures tell you that the earth is immovable and fixed. It's the center of all that exists. He looked over the entire face of the earth. In Isaiah 40:22, it says that the earth is a circle. A lot of people come and say, look, it says it's a ball. Well, actually, a few chapters before that, Isaiah used a different Hebrew word for ball, proving he was not calling the earth a ball. It actually describes the earth as a circle with corners outside of it, with pillars, with angels on the corners, and the firmament stretched out like a tent. Now, this is the most historically accurate compilation that exists, and it can't be proven wrong, and all the anthropological evidence supports it. But I'm not going to come out here preaching to you guys. I know a lot of you guys check out as soon as you hear me talk about the scriptures. You immediately clock out. But those are for the people here that believe in the Bible. You are supposed to be here if you can hear my voice, and what you need to do is realize that this globe earth lie proposed by Luciferian Satanists is an attack on the scriptures. It undermines it from the beginning. It says it can't even literally describe creation. Whenever I was young, raised up in Baptist church, which is religion, and Yeshua hated it, right? They tried to tell me that the earth was a spinning ball, and then I read the first chapter of the first book, and it actually says there's a firmament. I'm like, wait, so the Creator supposedly made this book, but he doesn't even know what he created? That's dumb. We've been to space. It's an attack on the scriptures. So for anyone here that does believe in the Bible, which I don't like that word either, but the scriptures, just so you know, it says that the earth is immovable and fixed. Conveniently for you, that's actually true. We've tested it. We've actually proven it. I do not think the earth is flat because I believe in the Bible. I only started to think the scriptures were true once I found out they were now viable because I found out what the earth is. They are now viably true, viable to be true, with a description of creation because it is in fact what the earth is. Now, it's not exclusive to the Bible. Every single ancient civilization that's ever existed said the earth was a geocentric stationary plane. In fact, the heliocentric model wasn't even taught in America until roughly 100 years ago. There are people still alive that were taught that the earth is flat in America. I bet you didn't know that. I bet if you Google it, it'll tell you we've the Earth was a ball for 2,000 years. In 14 whatever, Christopher Columbus discovered the Americas using the Copernican model, knowing the Earth's a ball. How does Christopher Columbus discover the Americas when people already lived here? But of course, the government textbooks lie about everything. These are the same people that told you that the Earth's a spinning ball and that you came from nothing and that evolution's real. They're lying to children, telling them that there's nothing special about them and they came from apes. The truth is, everyone here has a spirit. Everyone here was made in the image of the Creator, and everyone's very special and very powerful, and He loves you and He wants you to get right with Him. But anyway, we're just going to get back to the Earth again. I know when I start to talk about the Scriptures, people clock out real fast, and I get it because I hate religion myself. So anyway, I'm going to tell you guys a supposed story of how we proved the Earth's a ball, and you tell me if you think it adds up, since I know none of you guys know anything about it but think I'm crazy. So in 1969, supposedly we went to the moon, turned around and saw the Earth was a globe, and proved it for good. 1969, NASA claimed they went to the moon. Now what they say is they just can't go back. Now I don't know how many people here think that we went to the moon, right? But I know a lot of people don't even believe in the moon landing. They just think we faked it to beat Russia. Right, and no disrespect to boomers, but boomers get real triggered when I say we didn't go to the moon. What have you done, millennial? We did go to the moon, damn it, I'm a boomer. But I love you guys if you're boomers, no hate. But anyway, you didn't go to the moon, it's okay. And what did we do as millennials? Just inherited trillions of debt. But anyway, we didn't go to the moon in 1969. You actually go dissect the footage. They defy physics. They fall down and get jerked up on harnesses as the flag waves, and they came up with an excuse for it as they supposedly played golf on the moon, went back and forth 6 times, but they just still can't go back in 2021. They said that they destroyed the technology, and it's a painful process to build it back. So we can't replicate technology we built in 1969? You guys think that seems legit? Am I the crazy one, or are you guys the conspiracy theorists? You think that we can't replicate technology we had in the 60s while I stream on an iPhone 12 that has more processing capability than a warehouse of computers in the 60s? Let's get real. They actually said they brought back moon rocks, and they gave them and gifted them to different countries. Well, Holland was one of these countries. They tested the rocks, and it was actually petrified wood. It wasn't a moon rock. So why do you have to lie about moon rocks if you really went to the moon? Why did you destroy the technology of the most incredible leap in mankind history? Why would you destroy that technology? They also said that they accidentally recorded over all the telemetry data, which is the proof of it. They accidentally lost it or recorded over it because they couldn't afford to buy new tapes even though we give them billions of dollars. This is all the official story. Okay, so supposedly we brought Nazis over here, an Operation Paperclip, also declassified. We brought an SS officer of the name Werner von Braun over here to take us to the moon. Right? And I guess the reason we can't go to the moon again is because we're fresh out of Nazis. Do you guys blindly believe Nazis? Would a Nazi ever lie? No. The government would never lie. Nazis would never lie. We'll just rock with the mainstream narrative. Okay, so supposedly we can't go back. And I told you guys about Psalm 19:1 in the Bible. It says that the earth has a firmament. It's impenetrable. And it stretched out like a tent, right? It shows the handiwork of the Creator. Well, Werner von Braun, this Nazi SS officer, when he died, on his tombstone it says Psalms 19:1, which says that the firmament shows the handiwork of the Creator. So why did the Nazi that supposedly took us to the moon have a Bible verse on his tombstone that says you can't go to space? Because he let the secret out on his deathbed. Something else that this SS officer did when he wasn't trolling Americans with Bible verses on his gravestones and mass murdering millions of people is he also wrote a science fiction book in the 50s. The main character's title is Elon. And guess what Elon does in this book? He takes humanity, to the first civilization on Mars. Sound familiar? There's a guy in 2021 named Elon Musk that's supposedly about to take us to Mars. I guess the Nazi was also a prophet. This is getting like a really weird story, isn't it? This is getting weird. Supposedly we took pictures of the Earth from space in 1972, but we don't have any more real pictures of the Earth. So most of you guys think we have pictures of the Earth from space. NASA admits they're just cartoons. They're just cartoons. That's what they say. If you've ever heard of the blue marble, you can Google it on your dumb phone. Blue marble, Robert Simmons, NASA.gov. It says that we actually take high altitude pictures, stitch it to a flat map surface, wrap it around a sphere, bring an artist in to do an artist rendition to match what the observer expects it to look like. This artist's name is Robert Simmons. Direct quote from Robert Simmons is, "It's photoshopped because it has to be." Of course it's photoshopped. It has to be. So under NASA's own admission, we don't have real pictures of the Earth from space except for the supposed moon missions, which we discussed is preposterous. Okay, so if we didn't go to the moon, then there's no real picture of the Earth from space. So you guys think I'm crazy. You don't even have a picture of this supposed globe. Yet everywhere I've measured the Earth, everywhere my homies in Australia measured the Earth, and in Japan measured the Earth, it's flat. We have an observation off the coast of Cali, 1 foot off the surface of the Earth. We see a horizon over 10 miles away. Based on the math of the globe Earth, the curvature of the Earth, i.e. the horizon, the geometric horizon, should be at 1.225 times the square root of the observed feet. Simply 1 foot off the surface of the Earth, the square root of 1 is 1. That means you should see the curvature at 1.2 miles away, yet we saw it 10 miles away, requiring the radius be over 250,000 miles. And they claim the radius of this globe Earth is 3,959 miles. I think just under 4,000 is a little different than over 250,000. So we falsified the radius. We've also seen the entire Chicago skyline across Lake Michigan, 60 miles away, which based on the globe Earth map should have been completely obstructed by Earth curvature, yet we saw the entire thing. It was even actually on the news, and they said, based on the curvature of the Earth, you should be able to see this, but this is a superior mirage. So you can see the whole skyline exactly as it appears, exactly where it is, but actually it's not there, it just looks like that. Well, we had a flat earther go out there, then tape the skyline, go all the way across it, and it stayed in view the entire time and never changed, debunking the claim that it's a mirage. Of course, that's stupid anyway. That's just a blind claim. So you have two options here. Either you saw the skyline exactly where it was, exactly like it is, because the Earth is flat, or the Earth's a spinning ball, and you saw a hologram in the sky, and it just happened to stay in footage of the camera all the way across the ocean. We also have another observation in France, or the lake. We have another observation in France where the mountains are 200 miles away. Based on the globe Earth map, it should have been blocked by 1 mile of Earth curvature, yet we saw the entire mountain top to bottom. It should have been blocked by 1 mile of Earth curve. So if the surface of the Earth isn't curving anywhere, what is it? Do you guys think this waterfall is going upside down right now? Who thinks the waterfall is going upside down? That's ridiculous. The waterfall's going upside down, bro. You're a conspiracy theorist if you don't think that waterfall's going upside down. Have you guys ever seen a sunset? Okay, well, you see the sun at noon. It's warmer because it's overhead, and then it moves through the sky throughout the day, and eventually it sets. Well, what the globe Earth says is that when the sun sets, it's actually sitting still, and you're falling backwards 1,000 miles per hour, and it just makes it look like it's moving. I thought I was a conspiracy theorist. You know what the other option is that the sun moves in the sky, which is what it does. Also, you will see that the sun and the moon are the same size in the sky. Now, what the flat Earth model says is, well, the sun and the moon are the same size. What the globe Earth model says is that the sun is actually 400 times bigger than the moon, just coincidentally exactly 400 times further away also, so they look like they're the same size. What a cool story. That's a cool story. So if the surface of the Earth isn't curving anywhere, what is it doing? So here's a lesson for all you guys. There's something called fluid statics. Water always finds its level. Water's always flat. It always goes flat, right? This is why it's called sea level. When we build things, there's something called a level. We put fluid in the level, so it'll make sure that we know that something's flat so we can build, right? So water always finds its level. If you see this waterfall out here, the water is falling down, trying to find its level down below. Water always finds its level. So how is 70% of the Earth ocean water, but it's a ball? Is 70% of the ball flat? That seems legit. Most of you guys will just say gravity. There's no evidence for gravity. Helium balloons aren't gravity proof. Helium balloons go up. What happened to gravity? See, helium goes up because it's lighter than the surrounding air. It's called density. You're down on the ground because you're more dense in the air. You're heavier than the surrounding air, so you go down. When someone walks up to me and like, oh, you don't believe in gravity, and they drop something, well, you didn't just show me gravity. You showed me that what you dropped is more dense than the air. The helium balloon goes up because it's less dense than the air. It's very simple. There's gravity nowhere to be found. The only evidence for gravity is that we assume the Earth's a ball, and that means that gravity has to exist or the Earth couldn't be a ball. That's literally the only evidence for it. It's never been isolated, no scientific evidence for it. So every time I start to ask you guys this question, you just want to say gravity, 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 as if it's your deity or something. But there's literally no evidence for it. And the only evidence for it is assuming the Earth's a ball. We're talking about how we debunked that the Earth's a ball. So we're going to need you guys to not beg the question. That's actually a fallacy. Okay, so the Earth is not a spinning ball in a vacuum. Gravity is a theory with no evidence to explain how the Earth could be a spinning ball. Most of you guys are breathing oxygen. I would say, actually I'm pretty impressed. Maybe 70% of you guys are actually breathing oxygen. Okay, well, oxygen is gas. We have gas pressure on the earth. You could not have the gas pressure that some of you are breathing sitting next to a vacuum. This is impossible. The gas pressure would fill the vacuum instantaneous. This is called the second law of thermodynamics. Okay, so entropy will increase. The air pressure, the gas pressure will fill the available space. A system will spontaneously seek equilibrium. Heat goes to cold, high pressure goes to low pressure. So very simply, when you open up a soda, it goes psh. That's because it equalizes to the lower pressure around it. It's still very tight. It's carbonated. That's why your soda's fresh. It has a high pressure, right? When you open it up, it goes psh, and equalizes to the lower pressure spontaneously. This is called the second law of thermodynamics. You could not have pressure sitting next to a vacuum without a container. It would instantaneously fill the vacuum. What they claim space is literally impossible. You might would ask yourself, why would they claim this then? If it's so easily debunked. Well, it's because the only way the Earth can be a spinning ball in a heliocentric model with a giant solar system is if space is empty, quote unquote. So space is just a concept anyway. So it couldn't exist the way that they defined it. They definitely didn't go there because it can't exist. The Earth's not a spinning ball in a vacuum. That's dumb. I'm offering $200 cash to anyone that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth correctly. $200 cash, no strings attached. You don't have to pay to play. You don't have to pay me if you don't get them right. I'll even tell you what the first question is. It's the easiest question I could come up with. Supposedly, in the globe Earth model, how many times does the Earth spin every 24 hours? If you get that question right, and then you get the next 2 questions right, you win $200. How many times does the globe Earth spin or rotate every 24 hours, every day? Easiest question I could think of. And they're just basic questions about the globe Earth model, because everyone hears me say the Earth is flat, and then they're like, you're crazy, you're a flat earther. Which really people just self-project their own intellectual insecurity, and they want to point at someone else to be part of the in crowd. They're not bold enough to speak the truth or whatever, but that's not really my problem. That doesn't bother me. Anyway, so if you think I'm crazy for not thinking the Earth's a cartoon ball in a vacuum, you should at least know about it, right? Because if you don't know anything about it, but you claim I'm crazy for not believing in it, you sound dumb. That's like telling me that the Bible's real, you just haven't read Genesis yet. What a cool story. I did read Genesis, bro. I studied the Earth for 5 years and went out and tested it, so did hundreds of millions of us, and that's why government censors flat Earth. And they prop up the flat Earth society to make us look dumb when not one real flat Earther's in the flat Earth society. Everything they say is stupid. Everything. They say that you think you can fall off the edge of the Earth. No flat Earther thinks that that's dumb. Most of you guys will come up here a little bit arrogant and be like, oh, where do you fall off? No, you don't fall off. Okay? There's something called the 60th South Latitude, the Antarctic Treaty. Every major world country has agreed it's illegal for you to privately explore Antarctica, which would prove the Earth's a ball. Someone tried to circumnavigate it back in the day by the name of Captain Cook. He went 68,000 miles, and all he saw was an ice shelf the entire time. Antarctica is known to have the highest elevation in the world. It is an ice ring, an ice shelf that keeps the water within, and it's illegal for us to go explore it. Every major world country's agreed on it. China, Russia, America, you name it. I thought they were enemies. So no one thinks you fall off the edge. Can you fall off the edge of a pond? Can you fall off the edge of a lake? So as you come up here and think that that's like a question to show how dumb flat Earth is, it's actually a very dumb question. You can't fall off the edge of a lake, right? It's a shoreline. It's contained with a higher elevation. That's it. Very simple. But the Flat Earth Society tells you that we think you can fall off the outside, or they tell you that we think that the Earth's a disk in a solar system with spherical planets. That's stupid. There's no such thing as the solar system. The solar system, it lures your soul. Probably just a coincidence. So what we know is that the Earth is the bottom of everything, and all the lights in the sky move over top of us. Planets, quote unquote, the word planet means wanderer. We're just wandering stars. They move a little different, but they all move east to west, and they all reset for all recordable history. I document them all the time. The only time you ever see a planet is a cartoon. Okay, what you actually see when you document them is that they're pulsating orbs of light. They're circles that are orbs. Okay, there's not a sphere, they're not solid, they're not spinning, they're not something you can land on. None of that's real. All the lights in the sky move around Polaris, the North Pole star, and they reset every single year for all recorded history for thousands of years. The Egyptians built megalithic structures that line up with the same stars they line up with today. They all go around Polaris, the North Pole star, which is directly over the North Pole, the center of the surface of the Earth, which shows that the Earth is geocentric. The Earth is stationary. That means it's the center of everything, okay? And even if there were spheres in the air, which there literally are not, Even if these lights in the sky could be proven to be spheres, that wouldn't prove that the Earth's a sphere. That's dumb. That's like walking into your house and saying, look, there's a light bulb. The ground's a light bulb. It's walking up to a pool table, grabbing a pool ball and saying, look, this pool ball's a ball. That means the table is also a ball. That makes no sense. We measured the surface of the Earth. It isn't curving. The lights in the sky move over top of it. So I'm offering $200 cash to anyone that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth correctly. Because you think I'm crazy for not believing in it, but you don't even know anything about it yet. And I'm not actually like attacking you or anything, because I used to think the Earth was a globe. Every flat earther used to think the Earth was a globe. And when we all heard about flat Earth, we thought it was the dumbest thing we ever heard. We were like, how did people in the 21st century think the Earth is flat? This is stupid. How have we regressed this much? What's going on? We've been to space. That's what we all thought. Some of us were actually, intellectually honest enough to go and research it and try to prove the globe, and that's why we became flat earthers. And most of you guys will just go back to sleep and go play your video games all day that corrode your brain, post pictures for the gram, and then never pay attention to anything that matters while you watch the news, right? And get on Facebook or Instagram. Well, the truth is, some of us wanted to know what the truth was, and we went out and tested the surface of the Earth. It doesn't curve anywhere. We have observations that are literally impossible on the globe Earth. So if you think I'm crazy for not believing in it, come up and answer the 3 questions. You want to try? Yeah, go ahead. No, he didn't. You're talking about the Netflix movie show? What are you talking about? There's a flat earther that tried to prove the Earth was flat and proved himself wrong. Okay. What did he do? You're talking about the Netflix show Behind the Curve. Supposedly he tried to shoot a laser and it didn't work. Is that what you're talking about? You're going to have to know, you know what I'm saying? We've actually shot a laser 20 miles and it hit the target perfectly with no curvature and debunked the globe. My friend Jaron is the one that's in the Netflix show called Behind the Curve, where they try to do a hit piece. They actually lied about what happened. They chopped it up and tried to make flat earthers look stupid. So if that's what you think happened, I mean... Well, you'd have to know how they supposedly debunked themselves before you came up with your home run. We've actually measured the surface of the Earth and it isn't curving anywhere. Right, so I'll break it down pretty simple. You know geometry, right? The measurement of shapes. So the supposed radius of the Earth is 3,959 miles, okay? So that's the distance from the center to the edge, right? So that means the Earth has to curve at a certain rate. Because it's a sphere with a certain size, right? It has to curve at a certain rate. Okay, so based on that radius value, you have to see the curvature of the Earth at 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Okay, so the square root of 1 is, of course, 1. Okay, so 1 times 1.225 is 1.225, right? So if I'm 1 foot off the surface of the Earth, I should see the curvature of the Earth at 1.2 miles away, right? Based on the radius. I mean, you have to take mine to word for the math, but it's the globe Earth math. You can look up the Earth curve calculator yourself, just basic geometry based on the radius. So if we're 1 foot off the ground and we look out, we should see the curvature of the Earth at 1.2 miles away. No further than that. It can be closer than that, but that's the maximum extension of the radius, right? Okay, we have an observation off the surface of California, 1 foot off the ground, where we see a horizon over 10 miles away. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Of course, I have an explanation for every question you're going to ask, but just to not run away from the point here. So when we saw I'll answer your question, but when we saw the horizon over 10 miles away, that's impossible. If the Earth's what they said it is, it would require the radius be 264,000 miles, over 250,000 miles. They claimed it's under 4,000 miles. We falsified the radius. It is objectively not that. But your question is, if the Earth's flat, why can't I look out and see something in Asia or Africa, right? So that's under the idea that you should be able to see forever if the Earth is flat. You cannot see forever because you have something called the angular resolution limit to your eyes. And if you pull out binoculars or whatever, they still have an angular resolution limit, right? So you can't see forever. There's also something called the atmosphere. And so as you look through layers of the atmosphere, you can't continue to see through it because of the density of the air, the density of the medium, right? You can't see through it as it compiles. Like you can't see through water forever. You wouldn't see forever if the Earth's flat, is what I'm saying. I don't make very specific claims about what contains the Earth, but something does, yeah. Because it has to, because it's called the second law of thermodynamics. The necessary antecedent to pressure is container. So, you know, like heat goes to cold, high pressure goes to low pressure. That's called the second law of thermodynamics. So if you have a soda, it's carbonated and it's fresh, it's really high pressure. When you open it up, it goes psh, because it instantly equalizes to the lower pressure around it. That's called the second law. Spontaneously seeks equilibrium. So the pressure that's on the Earth, the gas pressure, the oxygen, etc., it would immediately fill a vacuum. It has to be contained. Gas pressure is the energy or force exerted on the walls of a container. So there is a container. We're not allowed to privately explore out there, so flat earthers don't make like claims that we can't empirically validate. That's why we're flat earthers. You should look into it. So yeah, if you're just going to blindly believe it no matter what, then there's literally no point of even talking about it. But you can have a card if you want to change your mind, maybe. Okay. Yeah. So this is a perfect example of what most people do. They don't actually want to know what the truth is. They'll come up with, they think, home run questions. Can you fall off the edge? What's on the other side? Is there a dome? Why don't we see the dome? Why can't I see forever? Why doesn't the sun light up the whole Earth? All these things are very simple explanations. None of those even make any sense. Those are called straw man fallacies. But when people get back into a corner, I'm not picking on this guy at all. I'm actually proud that he was bold enough to come up here and talk. But typically what happens is, because it's uncomfortable to ever even be honest that the Earth could be flat, they will say, well, to be honest, I'm going to think the Earth's a ball no matter what. Well, if you want to, you can. I know children that think Dora the Explorer is real. You know, I know people that believe in Star Trek and Star Wars and Superman. So, like, you definitely have the right to believe what you want to, but you certainly can't claim you know, because NASA admits we just have cartoons and we've measured the surface. So I actually debate aerospace engineers and astrophysics professors, and they can't answer the question about the second law of thermodynamics, right? So it's whatever. If you want to blindly believe it, they may end up coming out and admitting it, and then most of you guys will feel kind of dumb. But anyway, the Earth's not a magic spinning cartoon ball in a vacuum. Supposedly went to the moon in '69 with Nazis. We just can't go back because we destroyed the technology, and it's a painful process to build it back. And then the Nazi put 19:1 of Psalms on his gravestone, which says that you can't go to space. And he also wrote a science fiction book where the main character's title is Elon, and Elon supposedly takes us to Mars in this book, and it was written in the 1950s. Does that sound familiar? Elon takes us to Mars. It was in a science fiction book in the 1950s, written by Werner von Braun, an SS officer of the Nazi regime that we took over here in Operation Paperclip that supposedly took us to the moon. Do you guys think that that's just a coincidence? You guys are coincidence theorists. That's not a coincidence. They just troll you. Elon Musk was put on the world stage as he's a psychopath that says that simulation theory is real and they're going to put a chip in your brain. Dude's a psychopath. Of course, actually, he's not even the co-founder of PayPal. He's a fraud. And most people say, oh, they went to space. Well, NASA, or actually, they say they could have never gone to space without NASA. They get hundreds of millions of dollars from the government in grants every year. They're just an extension of NASA because people stopped believing in NASA. Actually, 1 in 3 Americans didn't believe in the moon landing at the time, so they had to come up with private exploration of space, even though under their own admission, it's not private. And supposedly, Elon Musk sent a convertible into space, and when asked about why it looks so fake, he said, well, you can tell it's real because it looks so fake. That seems legit. How about I was the conspiracy theorist? You sent a convertible into space with tires, with air pressure, and it just chilled in the vacuum, no problem. And then the guy who sent it there said, well, you can tell it's real because it looks so fake. As this guy was prophesized by a Nazi in the 50s that Elon would take us to Mars. Seems legit. Not weird at all. So do you guys think that Nazis could ever lie? I guess the reason we can't go back to the moon is because we're fresh out of Nazis. Everything I'm saying to you is verifiable, 100% indisputable. I'm telling you what the official story is. It's called Operation Paperclip. It's declassified. There's something called Operation High Jump that was done in the 40s with Admiral Byrd, a well-decorated general of the U.S. military. He went and explored the Antarctic region on behalf of the U.S. military with many people with them. And then, after they went and explored the Antarctic region, and he got on national television and said, it's astonishing to me that there's a landmass as big as the continental U.S. beyond the Antarctica on the other side that's never been explored or touched by humans with tons of resources. Then in the 50s, they signed the Antarctic Treaty saying it's illegal for all of the populations to go there privately. It's literally illegal, and every major world superpower has agreed. And then within 1 year of signing the Antarctic Treaty, which is still intact today, they say you're not allowed to go find out what's on the edge of the Earth. or towards the edge of the oceans, we'll say. They founded NASA within 1 year of signing this treaty, so don't worry about the Earth. We went and explored it for you. You're not allowed to go explore it, but we know what's there. There's nothing else there. Look up in space. We're going to go to space now. What a cool story. Of course, again, the official story is JFK came out and said, we're going to be the first country to land on the moon, and we're going to do it within 8 years. In 7 years, they were saying that there's no way they could go. They could even get to low Earth orbit. One of the main astronauts that was supposed to go came out and said, we can't even communicate to one another in the same building, much less from supposedly the moon. He actually hung a lemon on the module that was supposed to go, which is, of course, symbolic of the fact that it wouldn't work. And then this guy exploded randomly and coincidentally in a routine check on wires. And then we went on the 8th year, just like JFK said, after he was assassinated. And then supposedly we went to the moon. We called the president on a landline with no delay. And then we were playing golf on the moon, brought some rocks back, gave them to countries, and they tested the rocks, and they were just petrified wood. And we can't go back to the moon because we destroyed the technology. It's a painful process to build it back, and we accidentally destroyed and taped over all the evidence of it. Seems legit. These are all official stories. So direct quote from Don Pettit, one of the world's most famous astronauts, I'd go back to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we destroyed that technology and it's a painful process to build it back. Another aerospace engineer that works for NASA, he said, well, we can't go past low Earth orbit anymore because of the Van Allen radiation belt. It's too dangerous. We could die. But they just skirted right through it back and forth 6 times in the 60s and 70s. Is this story not getting kind of preposterous? If you're being honest, this story is ridiculous. Are you going to blindly believe Nazis took you to the moon, but they can't go back because they can't recreate the technology from the 60s? Because the government would never lie. See, one of the main questions we get is, why would they lie? Can you tell me when the government doesn't lie? No, NASA's different. NASA's the one governmental agency that doesn't lie. The government never lies, except for Vietnam, where we actually said that Vietnam attacked our ship. Then we've come out and declassified and admitted since that America actually attacked their own ship, made it look like it was Vietnam with the false flag so we could justify going and fighting a war with them. Seems like some people we can trust. Seems legit. The same people that told us on 9/11 planes hit some towers and then passports popped out of an explosion and floated down to ground zero, and then the FBI agent found it, knew who the bad guy was, and then we went over there to get them because they had weapons of mass destruction, when they then came out and admitted that we didn't have weapons of mass destruction, and we stayed there for 13 more years anyway. So why'd they lie about that? Why'd they lie about Vietnam? You're asking me why the government lies? I don't know. You tell me. When does the government not lie? Are you going to believe, you're going to depend your entire worldview, everything you believe, on a governmental agency that worked and cooperated with Nazis? That is insane. You call me a conspiracy theorist, but you are the conspiracy theorist. Okay? You're actually a coincidence theorist because you have to try to dismiss this and make you uncomfortable. So why would they lie? Why would they lie? I give this analogy a lot. The motivation for lying is independent of if they lied or not. Say you had a girlfriend and I walked up to you with a phone and I said, I got some bad news, your girl's cheating on you, bro. I got a video of it. Would you say, no, I'm not looking at the evidence or the video of it because I know she would never cheat on me. Until you can tell me why she would lie, I don't want to see the evidence. I know she wouldn't lie. There's no reason to lie to me. She would never lie. No, you would look at the evidence, see that she lied with the video of her hooking up with some dude, and then you'd be like, dang, she lied. Maybe I should figure out why she lied after that. You should do the same thing with this. Look at the evidence, find out if they lied, then try to figure out why they lied, because why they lied is independent of if they lied. Okay? But I can tell you plenty of reasons why they lied. The government always lies. Knowledge is power. Whenever you're the only one with the knowledge, it's much more powerful. They lie for money all the time. We give NASA $60 million a day. But no, they wouldn't lie for money. And they also, again, signed the Antarctic Treaty and said that there's no more land to explore. It's illegal for you to go privately explore past the 60th south latitude, which is effectively a circle around the outside of you. It's illegal for you to go there. Don't worry, the government's got it. But the government would never lie to hide land and resources, right? Of course that's a great motivation to lie. There are huge land masses potentially that they are hiding from you, and the wealthy have kept it to themselves with tons of resources. Oh, why would they lie? Right? There's also a psychological impact that happens. You have been now made slaves. Hence the whole world shutting down on the same day, and then you wearing what the government told you to because you're scared of air, and you have curfews and lockdowns now. what a free country. We have lockdowns like prisons do because they have effectively made a good slave state. Because as you walk around and you don't feel the earth spinning unless you're chucking tequila, then you have to believe, well, I don't feel it spinning, but I know it's spinning because scientists told me, the authority told me. See, the horizon's horizontal, which is where the word horizon comes from, is horizontal, but no, it's actually curving. I just can't tell because scientists told me, authority told me. So what it is simply is that you can't trust your own observations. You cannot tell the difference between truth and fiction. You need to look to authority to get all your answers. Well, that's how you make a slave state. That's why everyone's still scared of the air after they said, well, 15 months. Okay, so they've made a slave state. In addition to that, they told you you're a tiny speck of dust in this ever-expanding, huge universe where the stars are thousands of light years away and you see them, but they actually don't exist anymore, and everything came from nothing, and you're just randomly lucky to be here, and then lightning struck primordial soup, and rocks turned into fish that were like, man, this water's whack, and then they jumped out, grew some feet, turned into rodents, turned into apes, and turned into humans. Right, but the Earth's actually the center of everything. It's geocentric, which means it was created. If the Earth is the center of everything, how to get there? So they lied to hide the Creator. They lied to hide land and resources. They lied to psychologically brainwash you. And that's just a few undeniable, indisputable motivations for them lying. And again, if they lied is not the same as if, why would they lie? Okay, so you should figure out if they lied. We always get why would they lie. This is the main point here. If this is true, which it objectively is, we've proven it, that means every major world country is working together to lie to you. So it's not America versus China. It's governments versus people. And we need to come together to stand up against the government before it's too late. This proves objectively all the major world countries are working together and that there's a creator that they're hiding because it's easier to brainwash you if you don't know there's a creator. You answer to the creator, not your news stations and your government. Okay, so these are huge implications. Most people want to dismiss it if it's not important. It changes everything. And also, children are being lied to. Hey, is it a big deal if children get lied to? Do you think it's a big deal if they lie to children and brainwash them and tell them that nothing's important about them and everything came from nothing and they're in this tiny speck of dust where an asteroid might wipe them out at any moment and that they came from animals and that they're just nothing but an animal? Because none of that's true. So is it a big deal if they lie to children? Is it a big deal if they steal $60 million of tax money every day? Every single day they get $60 million a day? Of course it's a big deal. This is all a big deal. They've told you that you cannot privately explore. They've kept you in a little cage, effectively, a certain portion of the earth, and you guys are just cool with it because I got to post a pic for the gram. I just got to post a pic for the gram. I don't care about anything. I just want to go make a TikTok video that goes viral. All you guys just stay on Snapchat and TikTok all day, every day. You never research anything. You never think about what's important, right? And you blindly obey what they say. Yay, let's all cheer for the fact the government let us hang out tonight. We don't have a curfew. Yay. All hail Biden. All hail Biden. He said we can breathe oxygen again. Yay. Even though some of you guys still aren't doing it. America's so free we have lockdowns like prisons do. Yay. Hopefully we'll get to celebrate our freedom and independence on July 4th as long as the government lets us. That seems legit. The government's got to let us celebrate our freedom. And no one cares, bro. It's just like, bro, I gotta go viral on TikTok though, bro. So yeah, there are things more important than social media, which I'm not, is pretty clearly run by the CIA. And actually Operation Mockingbird is declassified. All the mainstream news is run by the CIA, and that's what the CIA said. So if you think that's crazy, well, take it up with them. Because the CIA has declassified, they took over the mainstream news for national security purposes. And in fact, whenever the CIA representative was asked about this in Congress, he said, they asked him, are you saying that the news anchors are CIA agents? He said, we need to continue this conversation behind closed doors. And this was declassified from the 70s, 50 years ago. You guys are watching CIA agents every day and getting your orders like good little slaves, and then you're going inside for curfews and lockdowns, scared of the air. Just 2 weeks, just comply for 2 weeks, and that was 15 months ago. Canada, right over here, apparently they're never going to get out of lockdown. No big deal, nothing to see here, because there never will be powerful people that want to have a one world order of a slave state. It's just on the back of your US dollar in Latin that says New World Order with the all-seeing eye on a pyramid. That's just a coincidence. The people that made the money, they just did that to troll you, right? So yeah, it's a huge deal that they're lying and they're trying to take over, and that's why I've been forced to walk around in public places in the United States and be the buzzkill while the white boys trip in on the microphone to try to wake you up, because I've been kicked off of YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, PayPal, Venmo. I've been kicked off of PayPal, bro. are telling people the earth's flat. I don't even cuss, and I tell them that the creator's real. Oh man, we better kick this guy off. He's so dangerous. I've been forcibly censored where we have to go out into the world to try to wake you up because time's running out. And you know, I get it, like it's easier to just try to laugh it off and make jokes about me or us, and because it's easier to be on the in crowd. But if you appeal to majority, you do what everyone else thinks, and that means back in the day you would have been cool with slavery, I guess. Because everyone thought slavery was cool back then. So whatever everyone else thinks is what's got to be. No, see, what's important is what the truth is. And there are little children being lied to on a daily basis, being told that they're not important, being brainwashed with all kinds of nonsense. That's a big deal. And actually what the scriptures say, that if you are to lead one of these little ones astray, it's better you have a millstone tied around your neck and you be thrown to the depths of the sea. The greater hearts ache for the little children being lied to, told that they're animals and nothing's important about them. And that's the main reason that I do this. And you were all brainwashed at a young age, told that the earth's a ball, and they showed you cartoons and fairy tales, and then you watch Star Wars, and you're like, oh man, I'm so obsessed with space, where's my video game? Most of you guys play Xbox or PS5 all day, every day, and do nothing else. Right? And it actually corrodes your brain and desensitizes you, and that's why they constantly get you to play war games, so if something ever did happen, it would just be normal. Your fight or flight has now been completely corroded because you're used to overstimulation. These were engineered by the government. The video games were engineered by the government. Now trust me, I get it. You think it sounds crazy. I know, it is crazy. It is crazy, but they're psychopaths. Okay, there's something called Freemasons. You get all the way to the 33rd degree if you're voted in. You can only get to the 32nd degree until you're voted in. And you're not allowed to be a 33rd degree Mason unless you know what the Earth is. You have to know the Earth's a geocentric stationary plane. If you've ever seen the Freemasonic symbol, you can Google it. It's got a square and a compass and a little G in it. The G stands for many things. One of them is a geometria, which is measurement of Earth. And that's why it has a square and a compass. That's how you measure a flat Earth. And you're not allowed to be a 33rd degree Freemason unless you figure this out and that you're Luciferian. So these people lied to you about what the Earth is, but in order to be in their little crazy cult of grown men that play dress up in the dark like psychos, you have to know what the Earth is. And if you've ever heard of Lucifer, then you may have heard the number 666. So let's see how many times the globe Earth coincidentally has the number 666 in it. Since you guys are coincidence theorists, so supposedly the circumference of the Earth in nautical miles is 21,600. That's 6 times 6 times 600. Supposedly the curvature rate of the Earth is 0.666 feet per mile squared to 1,000 miles using Pythagorean theorem. Supposedly the Arctic's north and south circles are at 66.6 degrees, while we're on a 66.6 degree tilt, wobbling around the sun, going 66,600 miles per hour. What a coincidence. Of course, if you read the Masonic literature, they admit they're Luciferians. They say it's the collective intellect and reason, and they worship the sun because they say that the sun is the perfect symbol of embodiment of enlightenment. Okay? So being enlightened, right? That's what Illuminati means, of course, illumination. That's why they're obsessed with owls. They can see in the dark. But that's why the Statue of Liberty in New York City is actually a Helios statue, because Helios is the sun god. You can actually Google Helios statue and see it's identical to the Statue of Liberty. And this is why they told you that you're in a heliocentric model, because it goes around Helios. You can't even say heliocentric without saying Helios. But they know that the Earth is actually flat. They just worship the sun. Trust me, it sounds crazy to say that someone worships the sun. I agree, but they're crazy. They're also the most powerful people that exist. They're most rich, powerful people that exist. The same people that put in God we trust, and God's the Babylonian deity for fortune. And it says, favors our undertakings, New World Order in Latin, around the all-seeing eye on top of the pyramid. It's on the back of your dollar what they're going to do. Hence the whole world shutting down on the same day. Okay, so these people lie about the Earth, but they know what the Earth is. So why did they lie? Well, knowledge is power. It's much more powerful if you're the only one with the knowledge. So there's a little creepy group of people that have occultic truth, and they keep them away from the quote-unquote peasants. This is what they say. And not to get too explicit, there are children out here, but they're also incestuous. So that means that they keep it within their family so that the power doesn't extend beyond them. This is real. And every 200 years, they have to move to another limb of the family tree so that they avoid physical deformities. These people are literally crazy, but they're the richest, most powerful people in the world. Okay? And they're all Luciferians. So you got like Zionists, Masons, Jesuit order, right? These are the most powerful people in the world. Like the Queen of England owns like 1/6 of the land on the earth. In fact, every single U.S. president has all been related and all tracks back to English royalty, including Obama. You guys think that's another coincidence? Every single, you can look up everything I'm saying. Every U.S. president is related and tracks back to English royalty. Wow. How generous of them. We get to pick out of their family reunion. You know, Donald Trump, he hated Hillary Clinton so much that he had her on the second row of his wedding. Seems legit. Seems legit. They're trolling you. They're all in a club that you're not in. So you guys are arguing about Biden or Trump or Obama or Trump or Hillary or Trump or whatever. But no, you're just being distracted and divided by two wings to the same bird, two sides to the same coin. So you guys should unplug from the matrix effectively. Stop watching the news that's run by the CIA. Stop arguing about politics that's used to divide you. Stop arguing about race that isn't even real. Okay? Race isn't real. We have different color skin. Get over it. It's not a big deal. We all have different shades of skin. It's really not a huge deal. Okay? But they keep us divided based on these things so that they can divide and conquer. We need to come together and get around the truth and then demand that they stop lying before it's too late. The Earth is provably a geocentric stationary plane. Geocentric means the center of everything, okay? That means that you're special. You have a spirit, because the only scientifically viable option for the Earth being the center of everything is that someone placed it there. There is a creator. There's no other way. There is no other way. That means that you have a spirit. You did not come from a monkey, okay? So you should get right with the creator. You know, maybe stop twerking on TikTok or whatever you do, right? Because you're very special, you're very important, you're beautiful, you're made in the image of the creator. He loves you, he gave you tons of power, right? And he wants you to get right with him and be happy and prosperous. So do not let them brainwash you away from the most important truth in the world. The Earth is created for you. It's geocentric. The skies reset around Polaris for all recorded history. That means that it is the center of everything that exists. The North Pole star is directly over the North Pole, the center of the surface of the Earth, and it was created for you. You're very special. You're beautiful, and the Creator loves you. And of course, I would say the scriptures are literally true, but religion sucks. Religion sucks, but the scriptures are true. What people would call the Bible. But take it or leave it. I know people check out as soon as they hear that. I will tell you, of course, the scriptures, the Bible, is objectively a flat earth book, as is every single religious text ever, except for, you know, Mormonism and Scientology, right? So the Quran says the earth is flat. The Bible says the earth is flat. Hinduism says the earth is flat. Every ancient text says the earth is flat. Okay, because of course it is, because it's provably flat. You can go and measure the surface, it's not curving anywhere. You don't feel like it's moving because it's not moving. They're aligned. Okay, and the scriptures tell you exactly what's up. The scriptures are never wrong. Trust me, that's the biggest red pill of all of them. It's the most attacked thing ever. They changed the main character's name to Jesus. Well, that wasn't his name. His name was Yahusha, Yeshua, Yehoshua, right? It wasn't Jesus. And the creator's name is not God. That's the Babylonian deity for fortune. It's Yah, shortened. That's why you say hallelujah, Yahuwah, Yehovah, right? It's very hard to get to the bottom of this because it's the most attacked thing in the world. But anyway, I digress. So the point is the creator loves you. You're very special. And every single ancient civilization knew what the earth was. The heliocentric model wasn't even tied until the last 100 years. So y'all get ready for the aliens. You guys all think aliens are real. You think you're woke because you think aliens are real. It's very possible it'll be one of the greatest deceptions ever when they tell you aliens are real. The Pentagon was given 180 days to release UFO information that ended on June 1st. They're going to start leaking information about UFOs. I've seen 7 in one night. Of course UFOs are real. That doesn't mean that aliens come from thousands of light years away and intergalactic civilizations. They're here locally. Of course, extraterrestrial means extra-terrain. They're from other land. Well, conveniently enough, they've hit tons of land outside of you. So if there's somebody that lives over there that comes, they would literally be extraterrestrial. And of course, you live in the inner space and they'd be from the outer space. But that could just be a coincidence. Either way, do not fall for the alien deception. Get right with the creator. They are about to start talking about UFOs all over the news, which is once again run by the CIA. Okay? So this is why you need to come to the realization of the nature of the earth, but sooner than later. Sooner than later, or you will fall for the coming deception. You know, from the same people that shut the whole world down the same day. That's why we go out here. We travel the entire United States to try to wake you up. So anyway, I'm going to take another break. But again, I'm offering $200 cash to anybody that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth correctly. The first question is, how many times does the globe Earth supposedly spin every 24 hours? Easiest question I could think of. If you get this question right, in the next 2 questions, you get $200. You don't have to pay to play. You don't have to pay me if you lose. It's no strings attached. I do this to make a point. It's a pretty safe bet for me, in fact, even though it's very basic questions, because no one knows anything about the earth. No one knows anything about it being a globe. They just think I'm crazy for saying it's flat. But again, that's like telling me the Bible. Come up here and prove you know anything about the globe earth. I've been offering it in every major city on the East Coast as we travel the United States. No one ever wins the money. $200 cash if you can get 3 basic questions about the globe earth correct. And the first question is, how many times does the globe earth supposedly spin or rotate every 24 hours or day? Very simple question. If you get the next 2 right, you win $200. You know, no strings attached. $200. Used to be $100. Now it's $200. I guess it's going to get us all the way up to $1,000. Maybe that'll get people up here. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to take a break, but in conclusion, the Earth is provably a geocentric stationary plane. That means it's very special. You're special. It was created for you. They're lying to you. They don't let you explore it. They're hiding land. They're hiding resources. They're hiding the Creator. They're telling you that you're insignificant. They're trying to take over the entire world. So it's time that you wake up, and maybe you step back and stop watching the CIA-controlled news, because the Creator loves you, and everything is, accountability to the Creator, not to the government, not to man, not to your news stations, none of that. And actually, you should care that children are being lied to, and that's who I do this for. Children are being lied to when they're very malleable. Children blindly believe authority. If you tell them that I won't even get specific, because I know some of you guys actually tell them that. So never mind, I won't trigger you guys. If you tell them that a gnome runs up in their room to give them presents, they would believe it, okay? They're going to believe whatever you tell them. Right? They're very malleable. They're very trustworthy, and so due to their innocence, they blindly trust authority figures, adults. So it's pretty repulsive, to be honest, to tell them lies and change their entire worldview and the way they see the entire world with lies. Okay, now I know you're not intentionally lying to your children when you tell them that the Earth's a globe. You think it is. This is why you need to realize the severity of the situation. This is an attack on their spirit. It's an attack on your spirit. You didn't come from monkeys. Stop telling your children that. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. They're special. They're not an animal. They're beautiful. They're made in the image of the Creator. You don't need the government's permission to breathe oxygen. Okay? It was created. You were created with lungs, and then the air was created so that you can breathe it. Okay? Just for 2 weeks. Just obey for 2 weeks. We'll get back to normal. I mean 15 months. I mean forever. Now we have lockdowns like prisons do. It's time that you guys wake up. Wake up before it's too late. If anybody wants to try to win the $200, you come up here, get 3 basic questions about the globe Earth right, you win $200. Anybody has any basic questions they want to ask, you can come up here and ask the questions. If anybody wants our business card with the QR code, you can find us on the internet. That's the only way you'll be able to find us, because we're heavily censored. Peace out.
Thinned out super fast. Crowd thinned out quite a bit, bro. What's up, everybody? I know it gets real reiterative for you guys, but there's only so much, you gotta cover the basics with all the new people, I guess. I don't know what else to do. I was thinking about moving over there in the light. Oh yeah, why not? See if it messes up. Yeah. We're gonna try to move it to the light, see what happens. Killing it, bro. Thank you. Oh yeah. Better, huh? Yeah. What's up, everybody? Oh, sorry, I didn't know what you were saying. Well, dude, the Talmud does say that that's what it means, bro. But I don't want to argue about it. Why do you think they call it? I'll just say this. Why do you think that the psychopathic Jesuits are calling themselves the secret society of Jesus? Because they're the secret society of trying to erase his memory. That's all I'm saying. But no, it only means that with the Talmudic interpretation specifically, right? Like, it's the Talmudic interpretation. That's what it is. Yeshu. Yeah, I really don't want to argue about that. This is way better. You can actually see. Oh, man, it never isn't exhausting to do this. It's pretty crazy. Dude, only like people at the beginning tried to even get the money. He was like an engineer. An engineer tried to get the money, and I let like 5 of them all work together. They got the mom got the 93 million miles away question, and that was it. right, I'm gonna drink some water, then I'll jump back on. For me, the whole conversation of the Messiah's name is as simple as if you know that's not his real name and you truly love him, why wouldn't you just want to call him his real name? You know, like if you called me a different name, I'd take it as disrespect. So why would we call the Messiah out of his name? It's honestly that simple for me. Like before I ever even heard the theory that it means may his name and remembrance be blotted out, I found out like what his real name was or closer to his real name, and I was like, out of love for him, you know, like I don't think you should have to be convinced to call him his name, right? Like it's just disrespectful. But that's my take. So I definitely don't think it's a salvation issue. I definitely know the Creator is way stronger than semantics. It's like if you say God, right? It's not like he doesn't hear you. It actually specifically says that if you call him the wrong name, he'll still examine the sincerity of your intention in your heart. So. There's my take on that. Yo, how crazy is it Canada's shut down? Because I saw pictures, dude. Seeing it from the Canadian side is way more pretty, bro. Like it's beautiful. You can see like that whole, you can see it all. Yeah, it's crazy. In a world, you guys got anything you want me to talk about? I know it's been kind of reiterative. It is what it is, bruh. We should call him this. You know, there's actually even difficulty getting to the real pronunciation, like Yeshua, Yahusha. I lean towards Yahusha and Yahuwah recently, honestly, but there's a lot of evidence for Yehovah. I just think it's about truly trying to do it the right way. And one thing we know for a fact, it's not God, it's not Jesus. So, I mean, I don't even want to talk about it. You guys have heard my take. I think that it's just out of respect. You shouldn't have to be convinced. If you know it's not his real name, there's forgiveness in ignorance. You're no longer ignorant. We may slip up and say it. Like I occasionally say God bless, but usually really not anymore. I say Yah bless. Great work though, bro. Yeah, much love, man. Shout out to Trevor. I love Trevor, bro. Y'all, actually, I'm just going to make Trevor a mod so you guys can chill. I can't even make him a mod. I'll make you a mod on here. Trevor's my brother. Add moderator. Father will forgive. I don't think it's like a damnable offense in any stretch of the imagination. But those that like are like, no, I'm calling him Jesus forever, and they're like, you yahoos, like you're playing a dangerous game. But when they're like, are you one of those yahoos? Like you really need to bump the brakes. I'll say that. There's power in the name, bro. That's why they hit it. The scientific experiments too, he forgets. Like what? What specifically, man? Wake up, you need to wake up. Dude, we had a pretty crazy Glowbusters today. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it was pretty crazy. Awesome. Indeed. Where's the you already know it gets crazy when it's close. See, I like this way better. I'm thinking about trying to get one of these that are nicer. They're like $100. Everyone wants me to get an omnidirectional mic, so like when I wear this, I'd wear the omnidirectional mic that clips on so you can hear their questions too. But the good omnidirectional mic is $400. I had someone send $100 and say this is towards the mic, so we have $100 towards it. You know what I'm saying? But we also have tour expenses. You see what I'm saying? So I'm gonna do the best I can, but I definitely agree that it would be way better content if you can hear their questions. Trust me, I get it. That way we can even chop it up with good interactions, or when people get triggered, and make edited videos that are cool. So also I should have What's It Gets It back. Maybe tomorrow, I really don't know. Anyone that can support Austin, please do. He's doing real great work out there. Doing real work out there. Thank you, bro. Much love. I've learned much from you today. Thank you for doing y'all's work. No problem, bro. Much love. How about how all the churches are run by Mason? That's not bad. Austin, it'd be really cool to do a breakdown on the movie The Passion of the Christ on one of your laptops. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. All right, I will. I mean, the main character went through a lot, so people act like, look how much he persevered to show the world. Like, I think that maybe he wasn't supposed to be doing that. That's why he got struck by lightning, but that's just my opinion. I just hit you up, brother 100. Thanks, bro. You always help a brother out, man. Austin's a beautiful spirit. Thank you, man. Much love. And lacerated by a whip. Yeah, numerous things, like broke his ribs, like, dude, Austin, is it hard to be such a legend? No, it just gets exhausting by the end of the night. But thank you, man. Yo, I think I got another merch idea, so I definitely want like organic, and then I'm thinking about just like war ready, and then I also want about my father's business. So we're gonna look into the merch, get it made where maybe I won't get censored. I got censored on my other merch, you know. Are you war ready, bro? I might make a song called War Ready. Get some. War Ready Productions. All right, we're gonna get back at it. Why not? There's not near as many people as there were, but you guys can't see everybody, you know? Like, there's people way down there because that's a better view. And there's a few people that come here, so you guys can only see some of them. We do have a GoPro that does 360, but we got to get to where we work it out. It doesn't show the 360 live, it shows the one angle, but once it uploads, you can actually watch as the viewer and scan around and watch everybody that hears it. It's pretty cool. Like, when we're over there's lots of people that sit over there, at least there were earlier. It's getting late. An In a World t-shirt would be epic. Yeah, we'll have to do it In a World. In a World TV. In a world where no one knows what the world is. I'm looking into buying equipment and just doing it myself. That sounds pretty awesome, but you don't have to do that, bro. We have another guy that offers to do that, Scooter, if you've heard of him. But it's like, I just feel like it's so easy because I don't do this for money, bro, right? I think it's so easy to like have a third party that prints them and ships them as long as it's quality. And that way you can offer it in like numerous different colors. Like, to do it in-house, I've already looked. Hey, Grabblers, back up, buddy. All right, we're still connected to the iPad. Back up, Grabblers. Just go get a girlfriend. Go get a girlfriend, bro. Jeez Louise. Watch, I love walking up there and be like, do you think this is going upside down? Hey, do you guys think this waterfall's going upside down? Does anyone think the waterfall's going upside down? Show of hands, anyone? Because if the Earth's a ball, that waterfall's going upside down right now. That sounds crazy. I thought I was the conspiracy theorist. I'm trying to figure this out. If the Earth's a ball, this is actually going upside down while it spins in a vacuum. Does the waterfall look like it's going upside down, or does it look like the water's falling? I'm just saying, though. I'm going to keep an occasional eye on there, but it's good right now. Yep, that's right. That waterfall's not going upside down. That's dumb. The Earth's not a spinning cartoon ball in a vacuum. That's dumb. The horizon isn't horizontal but still curving. That's dumb. Level doesn't mean curved. That's dumb. NASA didn't go to the moon in '69, just can't go back because they destroyed the technology. That's dumb. You can actually, create the same technology we had in the '60s. Have you guys noticed how much the iPhones have changed in the last 10 years? You think that we shot rockets to the moon, but we can't rebuild the same rockets in 2021? What a clown world. That's the official story, by the way. We destroyed the technology and we can't rebuild it. That's why we can't go to the moon. Most people my age,
they know the moon landing was probably fake. You know, it's the older people that get triggered about it. But once you find this out, it's when everything changes. That's supposedly the one real picture of the Earth being a ball that exists. The moon missions. There's no other pictures of the Earth being a ball. Do you guys know that? So if you Google it, you'll see a bunch of pictures. You're like, what are you talking about? But NASA admits they're just cartoons. They're not real pictures. They say the real pictures from 1972 moon missions, and there's no more real pictures. That's the official story. The Blue Marble, for example, they admit that it's a flat map projection of high-altitude pictures wrapped around a ball, brought an artist in to do an artist rendition to match what the observer expects it to look like, i.e. a cartoon. And the artist's name is Robert Simmons. You can look it up. It's on NASA's own website. He says, of course it's photoshopped. It has to be. So we don't even have supposed real pictures of the Earth being a ball anymore. How's the Earth a ball if we don't even have a picture of it? That's weird. We supposedly got a picture in 72. We have no more pictures. The surface of the Earth doesn't curve anywhere. The horizon is always horizontal. That's actually what horizon means. It comes from the word horizontal. Well, horizontal means flat. Water always finds its level. If you have a bottle of water, you can tip it in every angle. It'll keep on being level no matter which way you go. Water always finds its level. That's why it's called sea level. That's why we put fluid in levels. How is 70% of a ball ocean water that's flat? How is 70% of a ball flat? I thought I was a conspiracy theorist. That makes no sense. We've actually measured the surface of the Earth. It doesn't curve anywhere. If the surface of the Earth isn't curving anywhere, what is it? If you have a table and its surface isn't curving anywhere, what's the table? It's flat. You can't go to space. That's fake. I'm offering $200 cash. $200 cash to anyone that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth correctly. I'll give you $200 cash. You don't have to pay to play. No strings attached. You don't have to pay me if you don't win. Just, you get 3 questions right. You get $200. Super simple. I'll even tell you what the first question is. According to the globe Earth model, how many times does the Earth supposedly spin every 24 hours? According to the globe Earth, that you guys think I'm crazy for not believing in, even though I've proven the truth, how many times does the Earth supposedly spin or rotate every 24 hours, every one day? Right? If you get that question right and the next 2 questions, you get $200 cash. And I do this to make a point. Whenever I tell people, hey, the Earth is actually flat, they lied, everyone laughs instantly. They're like, this guy's crazy. But no one even knows the basics about the globe Earth. So like, if you think I'm crazy for not thinking the Earth's a globe, you should at least know about it being a globe, right? How can you know I'm wrong if you don't even know what I'm wrong about? That just seems wild to me. Like, I know the Bible's real, I just haven't read Genesis yet. That's a cool story. I've researched this for 5 years. Every single person that's a flat earther, they heard that people think the Earth's flat. They thought it was the dumbest thing that they had ever heard. What are you talking about? We've been to space. We took pictures of the Earth from space. We know it's a globe. This is dumb. What are you how did people even think this in the 21st century? We just went to prove the Earth's a globe real fast because one of our friends said it, etc. For me, I was listening to B.O.B., the rapper. He dropped all kinds of Elements mixtapes talking about conspiracies I knew to be true. I told my homies to check him out. And then he dropped his 3rd one talking about the Earth's flat. I'm like, wow, you just made me look dumb to everybody. Let me just go prove this isn't true. Well, let's fast forward 5 years. I'm out here on a microphone. And of course, the reason I'm out here on a microphone is because I've been kicked off of almost everything on the internet, as most flat earthers are. We're censored into oblivion. I've been even kicked off PayPal and Venmo. So we have to go out into the world just to try to wake people up. It's the only way to even get the word out there. Why do you have to censor something with force if it's so stupid? How come when you Google flat earth, all you'll see is 10 reasons we know the Earth's not flat? Or you'll find the Flat Earth Society, which does not have one single real flat earther in it, and everything they say is stupid. It's used to make us look stupid. If flat earth is actually stupid, why would you have to lie about what we think to make us look stupid? The reason is, of course, because you can test the surface of the Earth and see if it's curving. This isn't a debate. This isn't subjective. It's not like, I wonder what the Earth is. You can actually prove it. And we went out and proved it. They thought they did such a good job lying, no one would try to go prove it. But, well, some of us did. In 2015, the 2 #1 Google terms were Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Right behind that was flat Earth. It exploded on the internet in 2015. A lot of thanks to Eric DeBay. Shout out to Eric DeBay. There's something called 200 Proofs the Earth's Not a Spinning Ball. So you guys can find that if you Google it exactly. You might can find it, or use DuckDuckGo or something. 200 Proofs the Earth's Not a Spinning Ball. So anyway, people started to hear about this. We went out, we bought cameras with a high power zoom, we started measuring the Earth, and we see way too far. There's no curvature anywhere. So then they came out and they censored it. They admitted in Congress they censor flat Earth because it's quote unquote dangerous misinformation. Oh, it's so dangerous. Someone doesn't think the Earth's a cartoon that spins around in a vacuum. In fact, the heliocentric globe Earth model hasn't even been taught in America until the last 100 years. So I'm offering $200 cash to anyone that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth correctly. Since I'm so crazy I don't believe in it, at least prove you know something about it, right? No big deal, no reason to get embarrassed. If you have any true questions, you can come up and ask us. If you can stump the stupid flat earther, hit me up. But the surface of the Earth has to curve at a certain rate. It doesn't do that. So if the Earth's not flat, if the Earth's not curving in Florida or Tennessee or New York or California or Kansas or Asia or Australia, well, what is it? It's not curving anywhere. We have flat earthers all over the world. Most people think, wow, there are people that still believe the Earth's flat. What is there, like 50 of you guys? Try 16 million in Brazil alone. There are hundreds of millions of us, in my opinion. It's super censored. You'd never actually know the real number. Right? And so we went out and tested it. This is why they had to censor it. So let's cover some of the basics. You should have some basic questions. One of the number one questions we get is, wouldn't you fall off the Earth? No one thinks you fall off the Earth. Okay, there's pretty clearly an ice wall around the water, the ocean water that contains it. Captain Cook tried to circumnavigate it 68,000 miles. There was an ice shelf the entire way. Antarctica has the highest elevation in the world. It contains the water. So can you fall off the edge of a pond? That's how dumb the question is. Can you fall off the edge of a lake? Of course not. So as you laugh at a flat earther saying, oh, wouldn't you fall off? If the Earth was flat, the cats would have already pushed everything off the edge. The question is actually very dumb. You can't fall off the edge of a pond. Okay, there's a shoreline, there's something containing it. It's actually illegal for you to go there, though. It's called the Antarctic Treaty, and every major world superpower has agreed on that. That's probably just a coincidence. The one thing that could prove the Earth was a ball is if you circumnavigated it north to south, you came up under the ball and came up on the other side. It's literally illegal to even try to do that, and no one's ever done it in the history of mankind. You guys think that's just a coincidence? Now you can circumnavigate the Earth east to west. It's the same on the globe as it is flat. You go east to west around the center using a compass that faces to the center, which is the north. You come back to where you started. The one thing that couldn't happen on a flat Earth is if you went north to south. You come around a ball. It's literally illegal to do it. China, Russia, America, you name it, they've all signed the Antarctic Treaty, signed in the 50s. This is right after Operation High Jump, which is declassified, when the U.S. military went and explored the Antarctic region. And then they came and signed the treaty saying, okay, you guys can't legally travel there. And then 1 year within the signing of the treaty, they founded NASA. And they said, look at space. We're going to go to space. Actually, there's something called Operation Fishbowl right around the same time, where the U.S. government was shooting up missiles trying to break through the firmament. And they continuously exploded around 62 miles. It's called Operation Fishbowl. This is all declassified. There are hundreds and hundreds of declassified military documents that say the Earth is flat. What's up with that? I guess the military's just lying. Every time they create a military plane, they have to assume the Earth's a flat, non-rotating surface. Every time that they design missiles, they have to assume the Earth's a flat, non-rotating surface. Every time they have to go find the bad guys, or actually usually just guys they set up that try to buck the system, they have to assume the Earth is flat, use a flat map projection, Cartesian coordinates to get to the bad guy. GPS uses a flat map. Everything that you've ever used uses a flat map. Every pilot that flies, they assume the Earth is flat. They don't dip their nose down for curvature. They don't account for the Earth spinning 1,000 miles per hour east. There's also a military document declassified called electromagnetic propagation over a flat Earth. This is a military document. Whenever they designed towers, weapon systems, they had to assume the Earth was flat, a dielectric plane for electromagnetic propagation, right? So what's up with that? I guess the military is just throwing billions of dollars away on technology that would never work. Seems legit. You guys have never heard of this because they did a good job brainwashing us and censoring everything. And who told you the Earth was a ball? Who told you that? Your teachers using a textbook The same textbooks that told you Christopher Columbus discovered America when people already lived here. Does the government ever lie? Of course they do. We almost all went to a public school with government textbooks, and then I ended up getting transferred to a private school, and they still taught me the nonsense about the ball earth. Right? So textbooks brainwashed us. We were like 5 years old, they showed us a globe, and you're like, wouldn't I fall off? And she said, no, gravity. And you're like, seems legit, when's recess? And you never thought about it again. And then you were just ingrained with these fairy tales. You watch Star Trek and Star Wars, and then you just think space is real. Most of you guys play video games, and half of them are about space. And that's it. Now you're effectively brainwashed. So it's time to break out of being brainwashed. They lied to you about everything. This is the same government that used to condone slavery. The same government that lied about the Vietnam War. The same government that lied about 9/11. So why would we blindly trust the government? How about we go test it for ourselves? Because, you know, the government said that a passport popped out of an explosion whenever planes hit towers on 9/11. But just the reason they didn't know the planes were off route is because coincidentally the exact same day at the exact same time the military was running a drill where hypothetically someone might try to hijack planes and crash them into the tower. So when they were off routes they didn't detect them because they thought it was part of the drill. And then the towers got hit by the plane, a passport popped out of fire, floated down to ground zero where an FBI agent found it, and it was the bad guy's passport. And then we went across to the Middle East to get them for weapons of mass destruction. They then came out and admitted there were no weapons of mass destruction, but we stayed there for another 13 years, so why'd they lie about that? What about the Vietnam War where they said Vietnam attacked our ship and then they declassified later, coming out admitting we attacked our own ship, made it look like it was Vietnam so we could justify going to war? That sounds like some people we should trust. People that attack our own ships, lie about the country that did it so we could go kill thousands of people. The same people that lie about weapons of mass destruction go over to the Middle East and terrorize innocent people for 20 years. These people are psychopaths. Again, the same people that condone slavery, the same people that create a Federal Reserve banking system that just puts us into debt from the time that we're born. Did you know that you're in debt as soon as you're born? As soon as you get a birth certificate that's printed on bond paper? Have you ever heard of a bond? They treat us like literal assets, like slaves. Okay? And the main group that does this are Freemasons. Well, there's Freemasonry, Zionism, the Jesuit order, and most Masons actually don't know anything. Just so you know, not every Mason's a bad guy. Most of them aren't. But if you get to the high level, then you know what's up. You have to know that the Earth is a geocentric stationary plane. You have to know the Earth's flat, or you're not allowed in the 33rd degree. That's why there's a G in the symbol. It stands for geometria, which is measurement of the Earth, and that's why it has a square and a compass. That's how you measure a flat Earth. You also have to know that you're a Luciferian. So if you ever heard of number 666, I've said this a few times tonight. Well, there's some new people out here. So you guys call me a conspiracy theorist. You guys are coincidence theorists. Have you ever heard of the number 666? Okay, let's see how many times 666 is coincidentally in the globe Earth model that was lied to you about by Luciferians. Suppose the circumference of the Earth in nautical miles is 21,600. That's 6 times 6 times 600. The supposed curvature rate of the Earth is 0.666 feet per mile squared using the Pythagorean theorem. Supposedly the North and South Arctic circles are at 66.6 degrees. Supposedly we're on a 66.6 degree tilt while we're wobbling going around the sun 66,600 miles per hour using gravity, which was discovered in 1666, and the number for gravity is 6.66. These are all just coincidences though. There's actually something called the Selenilian eclipse. It's a lunar eclipse that's literally impossible on the globe Earth. So according to the globe Earth, during a lunar eclipse, the sun is blocked by the Earth and then casts a shadow onto the moon. During the Selenilian eclipse, also known as the impossible eclipse, the sun and the moon are both up above the horizon, above the Earth during the eclipse. Well, how is the Earth blocking the sun, casting a shadow onto the moon if the sun's up above the Earth? Well, guess what year they said they first recorded the Selenilian eclipse? 1666. What a coincidence. So you guys are coincidence theorists. The government always lies, but no, NASA's the one exception. NASA, the one that brought Nazis over here. And Operation Paperclip, also declassified. The fact is, they've been so effective with their brainwash, they can actually release the documents, tell you what happened, and no one knows anything about it. No one cares. Polo G just dropped that heat. I gotta drop a pic for the gram. We're the baddies on TikTok, though. No one cares. No one has ever heard of any of these operations. They've actually declassified them. Operation High Jump, explore the Antarctic region, then sign the Antarctic Treaty within 1 year of founding NASA, which coincidentally means to deceive in Hebrew. Operation Fishbowl, where we shot missiles up and they all exploded around 62 miles. Also declassified document where they had a approximation method to determine the brightness of the firmament, and their approximation method was proven accurate. The firmament is a container. The Earth is contained. And you can't go up into space. That's a fairy tale. Okay? And you can actually prove this scientifically, convenient enough. There's something called the second law of thermodynamics. I don't like to get too technical, but the second law of thermodynamics, as it applies to the Earth, would dictate that entropy would increase, pressure would fill the available space, a system seeks spontaneous equilibrium. But it's very simple. When you have a soda and it's fresh, it's sealed really tight, it's carbonated, right? Because it has a higher pressure. That's why your soda's fresh. When you open it up, it goes psh, it equalizes to the lower pressure around it instantaneously. That's called the second law of thermodynamics. It's a natural law. It's not disputable. It's not a theory. It just happens always forever. We just recorded it. How could you have oxygen that some of you guys are breathing, which is gas pressure, sitting next to a vacuum? How could you have gas pressure sitting next to a vacuum without a container? It would instantaneously fill the vacuum. It's called the second law of thermodynamics. By the way, I debate aerospace engineers, layman terms, rocket scientists. I debate astrophysics professors. They can't answer this question. So as you guys, like some of you, ridicule from a distance, well, I debate the people that you claim I'm crazy for not believing in, and they can't answer this question. Most of you guys will bring up gravity. You've been brainwashed. And look, I'm not trying to hate on you. I'm just going to say, you know who else they used to wear masks? Slaves. You know who else has lockdowns? Prisons. You guys don't realize what's going on yet? The CNN have to come out and say, government takes over. It's getting crazy. These people lie about everything. But anyway, so we have been brainwashed in an enslavement state, a slave state, and you've been taught that anytime you don't know how to explain something in this globe Earth model, which most of you guys never even think about, you consider it nerdy, you just say gravity. Gravity, 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 like it's your deity, right? So water always finds its level. If you have a water bottle, it's always level no matter what angle you go to. We put fluid in level. So how is 70% of a ball ocean water that's level and flat? Gravity. How do you have gas pressure sitting next to a vacuum? Wouldn't the gas pressure instantaneously fill the vacuum? Gravity. Actually, gravity doesn't work even if it's assumed to be true. If I let gas out at the surface level, it goes in all directions. All directions includes up. Up is the opposite of down, which is supposedly the vector for gravity. So where gravity's the strongest at the surface, it doesn't stop gas from going in all directions. How come hundreds of miles up, where it's weaker, how would it stop it from going into a vacuum? It wouldn't. And that's where all the astrophysics professors tap out. All the astrophysics physicists tap out right there. They got no answer. So anyway, let's talk about gravity. Most people are like, well, you're a flat earther, you don't believe in gravity. But the Earth couldn't be flat because of gravity. Okay, gravity's just a theory. It's never been proven. It's never been isolated. There's no scientific experiment to prove gravity. When something falls down to the ground, it's because it's more dense than the air. Somebody will come up here typically and drop something and be like, oh, gravity. No, that's not gravity. What you dropped is more dense than the air. Is helium balloon actually gravity proof? Because when I let go of a helium balloon, it goes up. Where's gravity at? So the helium balloon goes up because it's lighter than the surrounding air. It's called density, relative density. When things go down, it's heavier than the surrounding air. If I take a beach ball and I throw it in the air, it falls down because it's more dense than the air. If I take the beach ball to the bottom of that water down there and let go of it, it will go up. That's because it's less dense than the water. It's called relative density. There's nowhere that gravity is needed. There's no scientific evidence for gravity. It's never been proven. It's just a theory to this day. It's called the theory of relativity. Most people think it's mass attracting mass. Supposedly Einstein came up with a new theory called the general theory of relativity, which is that gravity is the bending and warping of space and time. But anyway, so gravity is not real. So you might ask yourself, why does everyone say the word gravity over and over? Why does everyone believe it? The only way people say they know gravity's real is not that we can prove it yet. We don't have any evidence for it. We're just trying to figure it out. But we know the Earth's a ball, and the only way the Earth could be a ball is if gravity's real. It explains something called omnidirectionality. That means all directions. You would have to stick to the ball in all directions or you would fall off, as with the water. So there has to be some immense force that pulls you down. We can't find it, we can't prove it, but it has to be there because we know the Earth's a ball. Well, conveniently enough for you guys, the Earth's not a ball. We tested it. That's why we are forcibly censored and kicked off of PayPal and Venmo and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and you name it. Forcibly kicked off. and admitted by the government in Congress on record that they censor flat Earth forcibly. Do you guys support the government forcibly censoring people? Because you do know that's how you have a slave state, right? Just in case you guys were wondering. Kind of like I can't read a medical journal word for word on my YouTube now because it gets immediately taken off for medical misinformation. What a free country. Not medical advice, YouTube, as I'm on my backup channel because my other one is currently struck. What a free country. So gravity's not a real thing, and you have to blindly say gravity to explain all this, but it's not a real thing. It's just a word. Just a word. Okay, I can get technical with you. Space and time cannot bend and warp. You cannot attribute physical properties to conceptual abstractions. Simply, you can't bend a concept. Can you bend freedom? Can you bend love? Of course not. Space and time are concepts. Time isn't a real thing. It's how we count what happens in the sky. The sun comes back around after a certain amount of time. We counted it. We attributed different, quantifications of time to it, quote unquote time. Quantification of the cycle in the sky. It's just a concept. You can't dilate time. When your pupils get bigger, that's dilation. Okay? Time can't get physically bigger. It's not a physical thing. Space is the idea of emptiness. You can't bend and warp the idea of emptiness. You can't bend and warp freedom. You can't bend and warp love. Okay? So the theory of relativity is inadmissible on its face, but even worse than that, there's no evidence for it, right? There's literally no evidence for it. And in addition to that, even when we presuppose it, meaning assume it's true, because we know there's a ball, NASA went to the moon with Nazis, right? When we assume the theory of relativity is true, and then we apply it to the universe, it's off by 95%. This is 2021, and if you use Princeton, Stanford, Harvard, Yale, every Ivy League professor, every astrophysics professor, every astrophysicist, every aerospace engineer, all in the world with billions of dollars and mainstream science all behind them, they still can't explain the universe. They're off by 95%. It's not 95% right, it's off by 95%. It's called dark matter and dark energy. So I'm so crazy, I don't believe in a fairy tale model that I've provably debunked. Measure the surface, it doesn't curve. Defies all kinds of physics with no evidence, and you can't even mathematically propose it yet? You have the whole entire world on your side, and they still can't even mathematically explain it. So the real question is, why would they lie? That's what everyone asks. And I know I'm kind of being a buzzkill, but hey, man, talk to YouTube. Tell them to stop censoring us. We'll just stay on the internet. Because this waterfall is not tilted backwards going upside down. Right? So why would they lie? That's what everyone asks. This is why I'm out here. This is a big deal. This means that every single major government is lying to you. So you're like, oh man, look out for China. America versus China. America versus Russia. No, it's governments versus the people. They're holding us all down, and the major world countries all work together, hence the whole world shutting down the same day if you weren't here for the last 15 months. Just comply for 2 weeks, 15 months. Now we're so free we have lockdowns like prisons do. Because when you're in the pen, you're in the pod, and then you have a curfew, you go back to your cell for lockdown. Well, that's what we have in America, the free country now, apparently. All hell Biden. He said we can celebrate the 4th of July as long as we obey the government. Anyway, so it also shows that the Earth is geocentric. That means the center of everything. Okay, because the sky has stars in it, and they do perfect circles around Polaris. If you take a time lapse of the stars, they do perfect circles around Polaris. You can Google time lapse of star trails. They reset every single year, coming back to where they started over and over and over. For thousands of years, they've done the same thing. Around Polaris, which is the North Pole star, which is directly over the center of the surface of the Earth, which is the North Pole. Of course, it's flat. There's no South Pole. Okay, so the North Pole star is directly over the center, and it's in the center of the sky, and all the stars revolve around the central point, and it's done it for thousands of years, and it resets every single year. We have 77 constellations. Well, they're constantly there. They've never changed. Oh, what's up, bro? You have a question? Yeah, see that light over there? It'll change in a second. Yeah, it's pretty cool. There's a little QR code on there if you want to check this stuff. Yeah. Much love, bro. Hey, I agree, bro. Yeah, thank you, man. Oh, really? Yeah, much love. Sweet. Awesome, bro. Yeah, much love, because it's an attack on the scriptures, bro. I like that shirt, bro. Oh, yeah? Dude, hit me up on there and we'll link up, man. I'll support your merch. Yeah. Sweet, bro. Much love. Awesome. Nice to meet you, man. Hey. Yes, sir. Much love. Where you from, bro? Okay, nice. We were just in New York City. What's up, bro? Okay, nice.
And then you got my son AJ.
What's going on, man? Nice to meet you, bro.
So it was Chris and Austin.
Yes, sir.
And I live in Texas now.
Okay, cool. Nice move.
He liked the shirt.
Awesome shirt.
I
Yeah.
had a dream with Jesus Christ April 21st, right after April 20th. That's what you go on.
Same.
One of my favorite scriptures was because unfortunately you did the first Corinthians 4:20 says the kingdom of God doesn't come with power.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome, bro. I can feel it.
Yeah. So I have an Android, so I have to
Yeah,
download a QR code.
Oh, okay.
I'll look you up.
Cool.
Direct if I scan it.
Yeah. Yes, sir. It'll have my like Instagram and Facebook and stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to get people to.
I have an app now. So it's on Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
So I have different, like 6 different designs.
You have Instagram?
I have Instagram.
Cool. Yeah, shoot me like a DM. Yeah, bro. And we'll link up. I'll prop you up, man.
This is part of your thing right here, right?
Yeah. Yes. Sweet.
Hey, nice to meet you guys, man. I'll be here for a little while.
Nice. What's up, bro? Yes, sir. Yeah. It's awesome, man. Which that reminds me, this is one of the biggest attacks on the scriptures ever. I'll try to get people's interest before I bring this up because people love to check out, but it's not exclusive to the scriptures or the Bible. Every ancient civilization, every religion ever, they said the earth was flat, but of course the scriptures are the truth, and the scriptures are objectively a flat earth book. This is the number one attack on the scriptures because it shows the earth is very special. It's the center of everything, that it was created for you, and that the Creator loves you. Again, the stars reset around Polaris for all recorded history, and the earth is the center of everything. The whole entire sky revolves around us. Okay, the earth's very special, and humans were given domain on the earth. You're very special. You have a spirit. You're beautiful. You were made in the image of the Creator, and He loves you. Okay, you are protected. In Genesis, we're told that there's a firmament that He stretched out like a tent over the earth, and we're grasshopper inhabitants within. No, an asteroid's not about to kill you. No, lightning didn't strike primordial soup and make apes turn into humans. None of that is real. Okay? You're very special. And the reason I come out here is, for one, we're being censored. The Father called me out here, actually sold all my stuff to do this. But in addition, because children are being lied to, the scriptures say that if you are to lead one of these little ones astray, it's better you have a millstone tied around your neck and you be thrown into the depths of the sea. They're being told that they're not special. They're being told that everything came from nothing. They came from apes. They're just animals. Nothing's important about you. And that's not cool, bro. It's not cool. They are special. They're beautiful. They're made in the image of the Creator. The scriptures say, and this is just because I know some people do believe in the Bible, but they think that the earth's a ball, right? And I get it. No one thinks about it. That's why we're out here, to try to wake you up to it, because it's being censored by the government, and it's very important. Because how can you understand heavenly things if you don't understand the earthly things? So, it says that the earth takes shape like clay underneath a sill. The kings used to sign their letters by pressing clay down with a sill, okay? It takes the shape of whatever imprints on the sill. The earth takes shape like clay under a sill, and its features stand out like garments. The earth has corners. Well, how do you have corners on a ball? The earth has pillars. How do you have pillars on a ball? The earth is immovable and fixed. Well, immovable and fixed doesn't sound like spinning, revolving around the sun, as the sun shoots 500,000 miles per hour through space, and the galaxy shoots 1.3 million miles per hour, chaotically, where everything came from nothing. It's immovable and fixed. There are foundations that cannot be shaken. There are corners. There's a firmament stretched out like a tent, and we're grasshopper inhabitants within. In Isaiah, it says that there is a circle of the earth. Isaiah uses a different Hebrew word for ball a few verses before that, a few chapters before that. So Isaiah 40:22 says circle, and I believe it's chapter 22. Isaiah uses a different Hebrew word for ball, showing he is not calling the earth a ball, but rather a circle. It says that he looks over the entire face of the earth. Well, how does a ball have an entire face? It doesn't. There'll be another side to it, of course. Okay, so this is an attack on the Creator, attack on the Scriptures. When I was younger, I read the word firmament, separates the heavenly waters from the earthly waters. And I thought, wait, you want me to believe that the Creator wrote this book, and which of course it's inspired authorship. I'm supposed to believe, little 10-year-old me is like, oh, well, the Creator wrote this book, but he doesn't even know what he created. We've been to space. There isn't something blocking us. So you can see how this is an attack on the Creator. And again, I know a lot of people check out when they hear this. I would say I'm anti-religious, but the Scriptures are true, right? And the Creator loves you. You don't have to listen to what men say, listen to what he says. But anyway, every ancient civilization has known what the earth is. The earth is geocentric. If the earth is the center of everything, there is not another option other than to be that it was placed there. It's the center of everything that exists. So how did it get there? There's no other way unless it was placed there. Have you ever heard of the Hubble telescope? Edwin Hubble is known for being this, crazy smart scientist that helped us figure stuff out about the heliocentric model. He's on record saying it can never be disproven. This is one of the most famous guys for the globe earth ever. It can never be disproven that the earth is geocentric, meaning the center of everything. That can never be disproven. But this would show a favored location of earth and must be avoided at all costs, because there's even dispersal out from the earth as the central location. So we must avoid this possibility, disregard this possibility, and try to explain the opposite. At all costs, we must avoid that the earth is a special location. Does that sound like non-biased science to you? Completely throw out the option that can't be disproven and feverishly try to explain something that has no evidence because we don't want the earth to be special. I wonder what that guy had to do to be that scared that the earth might be created. So anyways, I've been up for a long time. We're going to take a break, but I have been offering $200 cash all night to anyone that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth, because when I say the Earth is flat, people think I'm crazy, but they don't know anything about the globe Earth. The first question is, how many times does the globe Earth supposedly spin every 24 hours? The easiest question I can think of. If you get it right in the next 2 questions, you get $200 cash. If you want any additional information about this, there's a business card with a QR code you can scan. If you don't scan it, you won't find us. We're censored on every platform, including PayPal, because this is one of the most important truths ever. And also, you don't need the government's permission to breathe. The Creator does that. The Creator protects you from being sick. Not medical advice. Not medical advice, YouTube. Please don't strike my channel because you're crazy. So, yeah, there you go. $200 cash, anyone that can answer 3 basic questions. Don't be afraid to play. No big deal. You don't have to pay to play. You don't have to pay me if you get them wrong. I just do this to make a point. It's like if someone tells me the Bible's real, but they've never read Genesis, well, I can't really respect your opinion about the Bible. I happen to have read it and know it's true, but the analogy stands, right? If you don't know anything about the globe, how can you think I'm crazy for not believing the Earth's a globe? That doesn't really make sense. So I've been going all around the U.S. because we've been forced out into the world. The Creator called me out into the world, and no one ever wins the money in any of the major world or any major cities in the United States. No one ever wins the money. It's pretty crazy. Basic questions about the globe Earth. So there you go. In conclusion, it's very simple, and I'm going to take a break. The Earth is geocentric. That means the center of everything. It's stationary, which of course means not moving, and it's a plane. It's not. We have mountains and valleys. It's called a topographical plane, but the Earth is flat. You don't fall off the edge, right? You don't fall off the edge of a lake or off the edge of a pond. There's something containing it, and the Antarctic treaty doesn't let you explore it. It's called the 60th south latitude. Every major world government has agreed you're not allowed to go there. There's something containing the Earth, conveniently, once again, adding validity to what the Scriptures say. You couldn't be breathing oxygen, or at least some of you, if it wasn't contained, because you can't have gas pressure sitting next to a vacuum, so it is contained. It's not moving. You don't feel like you're moving unless you've been taking tequila shots. And if you do drink, which I don't encourage you doing that, and then you get the spins when you lay down, you should roll over and throw your feet on the ground to stop spinning, right? It's because the Earth doesn't move. The Earth doesn't move, the sky moves. What they tell you is when you see the sun move in the sky and then have a sunset, it's actually sitting still, but you're falling backwards 1,000 miles per hour, and it just looks like that. You don't have any cards? Yeah, they're in there. So yeah, anyway, the Creator made you to where you can trust your senses, okay? He's not the author of confusion. That's actually the adversary, right? So when you feel like you're not moving, it's because you're not moving. When you see the horizon is horizontal, it's because it's horizontal. When you see that water always finds its level and 70% of the earth is ocean water, it's because it's flat and water always finds its level. When you see the sun moving in the sky, it's because the sun moves in the sky. It eventually gets too far to see. There is a greater light that rules the day, a lesser light that rules the night. Whenever the sun and the moon look like they're the same size, it's because they're the same size. It's not because the sun's actually 400 times bigger, just coincidentally exactly 400 times further away also, so that it looks like that. Okay, so you can trust your senses. It's easier to control people if they think they can't trust their senses, they can't tell the truth from fiction, so they have to turn to authority for all of their answers. The one authority is the Creator. You don't need to turn to the government. If you have any questions, you come up here and ask. Don't be embarrassed. I know that sometimes it's hard to talk about things that are ostracized, but just be bold and speak the truth, right? Don't worry about what other people think. Back in the day, a bunch of people thought slavery was cool, right? So we shouldn't really care what everyone else thinks. Speak the truth. If you come up here, we can give you a QR code so you can find us. There's also some, if you don't want to come up here because you're embarrassed, you can go to your app store and you can type in Flat Earth. Flat Earth sun clock, or sun, moon, and clock app. Flat Earth, sun, moon, and clock app. You can just type in Flat Earth, it'll pop up. And it'll answer all your basic questions. It'll show you how the sun and the moon move, where they are. It's a clock wherever you are on the earth. It'll show you where the sun and moon are. It's very useful. So if you want to download that app, it'll answer a bunch of your questions and take you to good books, good information. And yeah, we have a QR code up here. If you want any more information, if you have any basic questions that you want for us to come up here, if you think there's any questions you can stump the crazy flat earther, feel free to come up here and ask them. I actually debate aerospace engineers and stuff, so I'd be surprised if you have a question I haven't heard, but feel free to come up here. No pressure. And again, we're offering $200 cash to anyone that can answer 3 basic questions about the globe Earth correctly. Taking a break. Much love.
In a world. I gotta use the bathroom again. I don't know if I keep going, man. I'm getting tired. Yeah, no one spiraled tonight. Alright, so I love you guys, but I'm gonna go use the bathroom. So I'm gonna play Geocentric, and then I'll be right back. Come to the UK, we'll try, man. I'm staying organic though, homie.
Insane. They want to keep us in chains. Plus they have a web of deception they weave in our brains. But now I see through the games. They're trying to lead us astray. Gatekeeping information, they want to keep it that way. But I'm researching all the time, every day of the week. So people claim that I'm crazy and I'm labeled a freak. But that's what happens when you're awake in a nation of sheep, where they try their best to keep the population asleep. They poison our food and water and they offer us war, but we're not falling for their parlor tricks, not anymore. We walk through the door and let our chains drop to the floor. There's many areas in this life that we got to explore, and the earth too, because they might be hiding more lands, more seas, more trees, more snow, more sand. In school, everything that we're taught is a lie, and lately it's making me crazy. I gotta know why.
break free from this twisted mental conditioning. I offer my message to anyone out there who's listening. I hear just beyond the limits and it's calling me whispering. Sometimes I feel like I'm tripping, this has got to be just a dream. But nope, I'm wide awake, my friend, and this is reality. Why do we let them enslave us, man? It beats the heck out of me. People barely scraping by and work for minimum wages. There is no new world order, this is how it's been through the ages. Flip through the pages of history and see on your own. Too many things are a mystery, other things are unknown. It makes me question who we are, where we live and what we're told. But walking a path of truth can be a really bumpy road. We're ridiculed, mocked, and we're ostracized and laughed away. But that's okay, some folks are sheep until they pass away. In school, everything that we're taught is a lie. And lately it's making me crazy, I gotta know why.
Fire burning in my soul, twinkling lights and waters knowing their bounds. Dry land take shape like clay beneath the seal. Whoa, electric.
What's up, everybody? Yeah, I actually jogged there because I didn't want to try to play something that might copyright us or something. What a clown world. Anyway, I think we're about to wrap this up. I love you guys. You guys need, I'll chat with the chat for a little bit. And I'll read all the donations to the tour when I do a computer stream. It fills me. It fills me. Might do it tomorrow. I think we're going to come out here just check out that other area we haven't checked out, the Nikola Tesla statue, even though we're not supposed to build statues. And yeah, there you go. I guess I'll play my song one more time just as the outro like we normally do. Or whatever. So, you know. Awesome truthing. Thank you, bro. Much love. Let me get over here where I can check out the chat. Yeah, the creator brings certain people here to hear the message. It's really crazy. Dude lives in Texas. He just happens to be here. Yeah, and he has a rainbow that says God's promise on his shirt. Right before I ended the stream. Walked up to us. Thanks for repping us. And yeah, of course, man. We gotta all do our part, you know? I'm trying to work on my tack a little bit. We'll get there. But as long as we all just do our part, try to be bold, and get the truth out there in real life as well as not just the internet, then we'll be good, man. That's what's gonna make us tip over the tipping point. And this is a huge truth. I mean, we all know it, right? It's a very big deal, and the Creator definitely wants the truth out there. 100% we in the field, legit. We in the field, bro. Much love to you, awesome. Blessings to you. Thank you, man. Much love. Oh yeah, shoot me that Addy if you want me to shoot that, wherever you want me to shoot that P900 infrared, bro. How'd the second part of Globebusters go? It was cool, bro. Bro, the beer's looking good. Thank you, man. It's getting there. I brought a couple to Flyer this weekend with scriptures only. It was awesome. That is awesome. Absolute legend, homie. I'm so happy and grateful that you're here, brother. Thank you, man. Much love, and thank you for the support. Love, David. All right, guys. I'm going to play the song and then carry us out of here. Do you evangelize the people? Do you share the gospel with them too? Yeah, big time. I just did some. But yeah, I do. You know, if I just, I think everyone has their own lane. If I get on the mic and just immediately start with that, people check out. I work them to it. I work them to it using the earth. I guarantee our Creator's a fanboy. Thanks, I don't know about that. But yeah, he definitely wants us out there speaking the truth. He blesses me immensely, that's for sure. And of course, blessings don't mean money. Being rich has nothing to do with money either. All right, I'm starving, so I gotta get out of here. Hey, you guys, have a great night. Thank you, much love. All right, seek and speak truth unequivocally. The weak find contentment in the consensus of ignorance. If you want to support the tour, masqueradetour.com. $sign Witsit gets it on Cash App, and Witsit at protonmail.com on PayPal. And we're gonna start a merch store. Start trying to figure out the 360 streams with the GoPro. Start getting out edited videos. I'm gonna try to get where we can get a really nice omnidirectional mic so you can hear the interactions better. I might occasionally put the glasses on so when I do the edited videos, you can see that you can actually see them up close as well. I might not do that though. I want some of Chris's food. That's what Trevor said. Yeah, me too, bro. Actually ate some earlier. All right, yeah, shout out to Chris too, of course. Everyone's telling you shout outs. Shout out to Chris, he's a legend. Without him, this would be impossible. Keep up the great works, dude. We'll do, much love. Yes, we got a lot of stuff coming. We'll be here tomorrow, and then I really wouldn't mind getting into some nature and chilling, but we're gonna head to Michigan, where specifically I gotta link up with all the flat earthers there. I know some people want me to go to Detroit because they want me to hit all the big cities. Like, I hate big cities, but yeah, I guess that's kind of the whole thing. I have to go into the heart of the beast. So we'll hit Detroit, and then we'll hit Lake Michigan. Maybe we'll get a good observation. We'll chill with some other people that are in the area. We'll have some meetups. So that's the next stop. Yeah, so cool. And I should get Witsit Gets It back in the next couple days. So much love. I'll catch up with y'all on the flip side, like a coin toss. And yeah, peace out.
Geopolitically, we in the field. That's for Israel. Wonder is it real? Rappers acting steady high, steady simple pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up, had to flip the pills. Control the music in the streets so the scripts can fill. Geopolitically, yeah, we in the field. That's for Israel. Wonder is it real? Took the way you saw the world, then distorted it. Now you think you wanna rock and twirl, somewhere orbiting. Theories disproportionate, the truth distorted. Trickle the force with what they forcing us in for that we absorbing quick. Took the people's signature that mean extorted it. They forging it, using good informants who informing them. There's a surplus, but they tell us there are shortages. Credit economy mortgages, dollar that's supported with empty fortresses. But what's important is this report and ships important. Yes, of course it is, but extortion isn't included. moving swift and assortment list of Wonder is a real. Rappers acting say they high, say they simple pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up just to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in the field. That's for Israel. Wonder is it real?